So, first thing I wanted to bring up to you. Have you ever seen Senegalese wrestling?
It sounds familiar, but no.
Fucking Senegalese wrestling. So I work with a bunch of people from Africa. And so they put me on to all
Oh, so I almost thought that was a dude's name from Senegal.
No, Senegal's a place.
Got you.
In Africa.
Yep.
A country in Africa. And they do this wrestling. And it's sort of more folk-style wrestling, Greco, but they fucking sock each other in the face.
Nice.
A lot.
Okay.
And it's dope. The guys are like all giants. Like 6'6", 250. And they just beat the shit out of each other. I mean, fucking, they're grabbing on with an underhook and just fucking slam, 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 slam. Beating the shit out of each other.
Sounds fun.
It's fucking hilarious. So I saw a clip.
Do they have pay-per-view?
No, it's like fucking weird. Not weird, I don't want to say that. But it's like tribal type of shit. They do it like, it's like part of their culture.
It's how you become a man.
Kinda, sorta. Right, but it's now like a super lucrative thing. They do it in like arenas and all sorts of shit like that.
Yep.
Like serious, like they, making hundreds of $1,000s a year, right? But one guy crossed over to MMA and was just beating the shit out of everybody he fought. He gets to a high level and he was just fine, whatever. You know how it goes when you get up to that high level UFC, whatever kind of thing. Nobody's good. You know what I mean? Everybody's so good that even guys that Nick. Christ,
I just watched that fight, yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, Nick is an animal. He beats on everybody. And then he goes in the UFC and has 2 losses. I mean, the guy still has all my respect.
Dude, that put it in such perspective for me because I've trained with him like a few times. Yeah, like I got there a little late for training with him, but I got into a couple of his no-gi classes, or the MMA class, whatever he was doing.
Yeah.
And
the guy's a murderer.
His he just showed takedowns both times. I think I went there, and it was like he broke it down to a science, like to the point where I was like, I didn't realize there was so much to a single leg.
Over my head sometimes.
Yeah, dude. And then he's showing it to me, and I'm like, how could anybody stop this? Yeah. And then I'm watching him on TV, and I'm like, Jesus, people actually can stop some of this stuff. You know what I mean? It's wild. But we were talking about that in at the gym today, like. There's levels to fighting, man. There's levels to all of that stuff.
I went to Pan Am's a couple of years ago before I changed over and started training at Henzo's. I trained at Binda Jiu Jitsu in Bradford, and me and Anthony were there together, and there was sort of a thing. I don't want to send any ill will towards the guy, but the guy was kind of a jerk that ran the joint.
All right.
And Anthony was a brown belt, and he was going to Pan Am's with a reasonable likelihood of doing well. And the coach was like, "Nah, I don't want to go. Fuck it. I'm not paying attention." So I was like a white belt at the time, and I was like, all right, man, I'll go with you. Like, nobody else from the gym was going to go with Anthony. Obviously, you could kind of know Anthony. He's a rough and tumble guy. But at heart, he's a really great guy.
Bro, he's a nice guy.
I mean, stud.
Once you start talking to him, he's cool.
Great dad, great jiu-jitsu guy.
Yeah.
Just a great person. So I was like...
And he'll help you with anything.
Oh, with anything, yeah. And I mean anything. You don't even know the half of it. Anthony was in my wedding. We're wicked good friends.
That's cool.
But... So that's where me and Anthony kind of started to become better friends because I went with him to Pan Am's in New York. But the point I was getting to was Gordon Ryan. I met Gordon Ryan at Pan Am's.
Really?
Guy's a gorilla.
Yeah.
Guy's an ape. Now, I don't strike myself as a very small guy.
Right.
Right? I'm not huge, but I'm 5 foot and 240.
I'm a small guy.
Gordon Ryan makes me... I'm going to pull up the picture for you. Okay, Gordon Ryan makes me look like a child.
You get a couple pictures on your Instagram standing next to other men, and you don't look small next to them. So for contrast,
no, I look like a small child.
He's a big fucking dude.
He's a gorilla. I mean, a real ape. Come on, you know how it is looking this stuff up.
Yeah.
But so I'm gonna wait for it to come up. But Nick, going against Nick is like, unreal. Now imagine going up against a Gordon Ryan character that makes Nick look like, he doesn't know what he's doing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's kind of nutty. It doesn't really make a hell of a lot of sense. The levels that you get into with jiu-jitsu because it's just everybody's so good.
Yeah. Dude, look at the shit Chase Hooper did with
it's like you can't
when Nick mounted him. And he fucking just threw his legs back?
He just threw him off him. Like
I was like, are you serious, dude?
Like,
I don't know a single person that we train with that could do that.
No,
like,
right.
You know what I mean?
It's like, he's just a gigantic gargantuan human. Here it is. Right? Now, at this time, I'm probably 225. He makes me look like a small child.
Yeah. I mean, he's next to Anthony, and he's bigger than Anthony.
Oh, well, yeah.
And Anthony's fucking huge.
Yeah.
To me, I mean, you know, he's a big dude.
Gordon Ryan is an absolute giant gorilla, but, man, his game is off the charts.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But
the scientist.
I'm hoping to actually get to Africa sometime next year or maybe the year after. And I'm totally going to try to get involved in Senegalese wrestling.
Oh, shit.
100%.
That's exciting.
I don't know if it'll be able to be a thing that is able to happen. Like, I don't know if they'll, like, accept this, like, white dude into their, like,
I hope
thing,
they do.
But, man, if they do, it's going to be awesome.
You will come back with the nastiest bag of tricks.
They're going to beat the shit out of me, but it'll be awesome.
Yeah.
Those dudes have, like, I shovel rock strength.
Right.
Like, if you look at them,
they just pick a human up and throw them.
Yeah, they all look like Francis Ngannou.
Yeah, fuck off.
They're just like
no way.
Giant gorillas. But I don't care. I'm a decent-sized guy. I can handle it.
You're out of your fucking mind. But I'll
be awesome, though.
I hope you tape it.
I'll get the shit beat out of Yeah, 100%.
Get footage.
But I have some friends from Africa that live here, you know. And,
really?
Yeah, a bunch of them, actually.
Cool.
A few people from Ghana, a few people from Nigeria, a few people from Kenya. A friend of mine is from Sierra Leone. He was, like, heavily involved in the government of Sierra Leone. He's
Damn,
a nurse
dude.
As well. Yeah, so we've been...
Is it that field that you're meeting all those different people in?
Yeah, mostly psychiatry. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I work at the inpatient facility. And a lot of Africans, you know. A lot of people from Cameroon.
Yeah.
Like Francis Ngannou. Those guys are monstrous size. I worked with this dude, Eric Obenji. Shout out Eric Obenji. He's like 50 years old, but he's like 6'5", 375.
Yeah, no thanks.
Just a giant human. And there was this other dude, Osa. He still kind of works there. Another one. I don't know exactly where he's from. Somewhere in Africa.
Yep.
Sorry, Osa. And he's like 6'4", 290. And they're not like these big, obese, like slobs. You know what I mean?
They're in shape.
Well, I wouldn't call them in super great shape, but they're not slobs.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, they're not like fat hanging.
They're not in American bad shape.
Right. They're not in American bad shape by any means. You know what I mean?
That dude Paul, I think, is from Kenya.
I think he is too.
Blue belt.
Well, he lives in Hampstead.
Yeah.
And he just got his blue belt not that long
That
ago.
fucking dude has zero quit in him.
No, he doesn't have any quit. That's called third world drive.
For real, bro. Like, he's got another level of fucking drive. Every time I roll with him, I'm like, I know this is gonna hurt.
I work with this dude from Sierra Leone.
Yeah.
And he works more than any human being I've ever interacted with in my entire life.
Crazy work ethic.
Like, I'm talking about, I've known him for like 4 years. I can't think of a time that I remember him working less than 100 hours a week.
Damn, dude.
Yeah. Yeah. He's taken a few months off here and there to, like, go home or whatever. But other than that, like, past, like, 4 to 5 years, just working. Like,
that's how I feel about Kev.
16-hour shift, 16-hour shift, day after day after day.
That's how I feel about Kevin.
Kevin Landry?
Yeah. Dude doesn't stop. I'm like, when do you sleep? Do you ever sleep? He's like, no.
No, he just drinks espresso shots on ice and, just mainlines jiu-jitsu all the time.
Yeah.
He's kind of a madman, though. Same with Alex. A madman. Like, I went over to see him at his farm one time, and he's like, dude, we've been pulling 18-hour days for the past 2 weeks. And I'm like, man.
I would like to interview him sometime.
Alex is a cool guy. Super interesting. And I bet if you just asked him, he would do it.
Mm-hmm.
He's a pretty chill guy. You know what I mean?
Dude, I had no idea, like, he was into all the stuff he was into. He's a straight-up businessman.
Big time.
I had no idea.
Big time. The dude's well put together. You know what I mean? Smart, intelligent guy, hard worker.
Yeah, I got like.
Shout out Helios Hash.
Yeah, definitely.
Right, that's the man. He works his butt off. He's been in that business for a couple of years now, and he's skyrocketed and does the best shit.
Yeah.
You know, super interesting to see somebody who can just get involved in something and be the best right away.
Right.
You almost never see that. You know, it's like jiu-jitsu. You go in and it's like.
That's the thing I want to talk to him about, because it's like.
Oh yeah, well, I'll tell you why his jiu-jitsu is so good so fast.
Privates.
Because I take his privates with him. And it's just like all the dumb mistakes that I make or that you make all the time that nobody corrects us on, because Kevin and Tim and Ty can only be in so many places at once. It's not that they're not doing their best, but they're teaching a class of 20 or 30 guys.
Yeah.
Versus just one.
Right.
You know? So I've been taking the privates with them whenever I can, and it's awesome.
Manchester?
Yeah, up in Manch.
Yeah.
He is a real hard worker, though. And
yeah.
He works out like a dog, always lifting weights, running.
Yeah, kid's built like a shit house.
Yeah, you know? And I tried to get him to out himself. I was like, you got to be on something. And he's like, swear to God, I'm not taking anything. And I believe him. He's a pretty honest guy. I feel like if he was, he'd be like, nah, I guess so. You know what I mean? Because he's shredded.
Yeah.
It's like, man, I train a lot.
But he also has like a super strict diet he was telling us about. Like he eats like fucking just beef and rice, I think.
Yeah.
And like that's it.
Like a vertical diet kind of thing. Like
yeah.
Dan Efforting. Have you heard about that guy before?
A little bit, because I watched that More Plates, More Dates guy,
yeah.
and that shit I like get sucked in. I'm fascinated by it.
Dan Efforting's cool. He does the vertical diet is his thing, and it's like most of your calories, say like 95% of your calories are coming from. The gist of it is, and I'm no vertical diet specialist, your calories should come from foods that are easily bioavailable.
Mm-hmm.
So you're talking about like meats, eggs, rice, potatoes, but mostly it's rice and beef, or rice and ruminant animals. So you can eat beef, goat, venison, lamb,
whatever kind of protein.
The red stuff.
Yeah.
Not necessarily whatever, but the red stuff. You know what I mean?
Not what everybody says, chicken.
So right, not necessarily chicken, not necessarily pork, because you want those healthy fats, right? To especially to aid in your hormone development, maybe is the word. I'm not sure exactly the right word, but getting the hormones in your body functioning appropriately, you need fats and you need cholesterol.
I've heard
the fact that people don't understand about that. You know, people think, oh, cholesterol is bad, cholesterol is bad. Well, if you have no cholesterol, you can't synthesize testosterone.
Huh.
And without testosterone, you know, you're going to have trouble doing a lot of things.
Right.
People think testosterone in the body is just about building muscle. It's about everything.
Right.
You can see it.
Sleep. Fucking
Sleep's
energy.
one of them, a ton of it. Your energy levels, your sleep, your libido.
Recovery.
You know, recovery and muscle growth and all these things.
And if you ask your general practitioner, doctor, like what do they call it? Like a primary care.
Yeah, primary care doctor.
They're literally just going to ask you if you have sexual problems, and if no, they write it off like, no.
Yeah, you got to find a good primary care physician.
That's
I like
hard.
to put them in a box because some of them are good. I have a stellar primary care physician.
Is it a private practice?
It's Stewart Primary Care. Through Holy Family or whatever.
I used to be through Stewart, and they were much better than what I got now. But
yeah, she's great. I see this lady, Tammy Steele. She's a nurse practitioner. I haven't seen her for like, I don't know, 15 years. Long time. She takes care of all my stuff. Not that I'm super complex and need a bunch of shit, but I think it really depends on who you see. But I'm always telling guys, especially older guys, go get your test levels checked.
Yeah.
Because if your testosterone is low, you're going to be feeling
it's affecting
like
your whole life.
And if you're trying, especially if you're trying to do jiu-jitsu, I was talking to Frank the other day. You know Frank. He trains in Manchester. He's kind of an older guy, white hair.
Yes, I just bumped into him the other day. Yeah, he's a good guy.
Super cool. Sorry, the pollen's getting me.
Oh, you're good.
But I was talking to Frank about that. He's like, oh, man, I'm feeling really sore. These things are bothering me. I don't want to get into it. It's his own stuff. But you know, he's an older guy, 60, 61. And I'm like, dude, A, go get your test levels checked.
Yep.
B, you got the money. Go get stem cells and shit.
Yeah.
Because that stuff works.
Is that like legal in this country now? Mexico.
I don't know exactly right, but you can go to Mexico and do it, and you can go to other places and do it. That's sometimes the move, though. A friend of mine, do you remember Joseph Boussad? He trained at Henzo's for a while. Big Arab dude. Maybe not.
I don't think so.
He moved to Florida like a year ago, so you might.
Yeah, I might have missed him. Yeah.
Right, but Joseph had some hair loss, and he went to Turkey, Istanbul.
I've heard about this.
Right, and got hair plugs, and it looks great. You're like, really surprised. Because you're like, oh, you go to Turkey.
You gotta outsource it sometimes.
Yeah, but apparently, so then I started looking and researching. Turkey is like the best place you can go for hair transplants. They supposedly do they've been doing them for a wicked long time. They're like very good at it. That the recovery process is good. However, Joseph did get an infection in his.
Okay.
So it's been not healing so good. So you obviously have to.
There are risks.
There are risks, right? I mean, there's risks in surgery or in anything.
No matter what.
Really, no matter what you're doing. I contracted MRSA twice. Like 2 years ago, maybe. I would say it was probably.
That scares the shit out of me.
It was during times where I was wearing a mask, so it had to be after 2020.
Yep.
But I don't think it was last year, so maybe it was like 2021.
Yeah.
Because we were doing jiu-jitsu, I remember, because I was off for quite a period.
Yep.
But I got it on my face, and you know what they said? It was probably from shaving, got a little nick, and then went to jiu-jitsu and got something nasty in there. You know, so you.
I knew not shaving was the move, dude.
Yeah.
No, I'm just kidding.
A beard, I don't have a good mustache like you do. It's a problem.
Good? I mean...
It's there, though, but it's there. Mine looks like a 14-year-old. It's true. I don't have
Italian and you got fucking no mustache, brother? What's going on?
But no mustache. You know what I mean? And
you must have some Irish in there.
I get a lot of stuff in there. My dad's side of the family's mud. You know what I mean?
Same here.
But I grew up kind of in that Italian-American culture. But talking about...
You got a mobster name, too.
I know. Niko Autiello.
Bro, come on now.
Yeah. It's a lot of names.
That's a Don name.
Yeah, it's a cool name. I like it. It's kind of annoying because like kids like pick on you because it's like a funny name. You know what I mean? But once you grow into it as an adult, you're like, I got a fucking badass name. You know what I mean?
That name comes with a suit.
Yeah.
You know?
What I mean? So speaking of, I'm actually stoked to be going to Italy in a couple of like, I don't know, maybe a month now.
That's awesome.
Yeah, we're going all around Italy, kind of taking the train, doing like the typical kind of backpack around Italy kind of thing for a couple weeks. We're going to Athens to check out Athens.
That's cool.
Super cool. And then actually I have a friend that I met from work, older guy. He's like 64, 65.
Yeah.
Super interesting character. He's one of those guys that's lived 4 or 5 lives, if you know what I mean.
Yep.
Like he was a DJ back in the 80s when everything was on like records and shit. And he was a professional cyclist for like 5 years. And he's been a nurse for many, many years. He bought and sold classic cars for a long time. He's just a character.
Yeah.
So we're meeting him. He also sails. So what he does, well, he just retired this year. But what he has been doing for as long as I've known Ken, 4 or 5 years, I think he's been doing it for much longer than that. He'll come around and he works like a dog for like 3 months. Like I'm talking about double after double after double, just work for like 3 months.
Yep.
And then, I mean, he's a zombie. It's crazy. And he's really good, so I can't really complain. Some people, you can't let them work like that because they'll make mistakes and stuff.
Right.
But he's, on point, And then he'll go sailing for like 5 or 6 months. He's got big-ass sailboats. Like
that's cool.
65-foot sailboats. 2 of them. One in the Mediterranean and one in the Caribbean, which he got over the years of working a lot, and saving a lot of money. So we're meeting him in Corfu, Greece, to sail around the Greek islands for like 5 days.
What, dude?
Sick, right?
Hell yeah.
So from there we go to Munich for like 2 days. Munich, Germany. I love German food and beer. Who doesn't love beer? And then we're stopping over for like a day in Lisbon just because the way our layover was for the flight.
Bro.
Yeah.
This sounds awesome.
And then we're coming home. I'm working for like a week or 2, and then we had a cruise booked that was booked from like 2020.
Yep.
And we're going to Bermuda.
Woo!
Yeah. So we're like vacationing out. But I got that wild schedule. So I have a ton of time available to me.
Right.
I get some backpacking trips planned.
How long is this whole trip going to take?
Besides the cruise, like a month.
That's cool.
Yeah.
So you're just going place to place
so we're
to place.
To Rome for a few days, like 3 or 4 days, maybe like 3 days, I think. Then we go to Naples, the birthplace of pizza.
Can't miss that.
Yeah, for a couple days. And we go from Naples to Florence, which is a cool spot. That's where my family supposedly comes from.
Yep.
The Autiellos, right? So that's kind of interesting. We don't know anybody there, so it's not like we're like meeting the fam or something like that. But it's just a cool thing.
You never know. I've heard some weird shit. Like if you just, bro, if you ask around.
Yeah, people might know you.
So I heard, like I read Maynard Keenan's book. I brought this guy up earlier. He says that he went to Italy to just like see exactly what you just said.
That's so cool, yeah.
He was just seeing like where
his window, get a little air in here.
Where his family comes from.
Yeah, thank you.
And it is nice out.
So nice out.
But he was like, I went to this village in Italy or town or whatever, and he's like, I literally just wanted to see where my family came from. And people started asking me questions like, where are you from? Why are you here? Blah, blah, blah. And he just started like talking with the locals. Yeah. And he literally got to meet his family. Like, he was like 50, 100 years removed.
Yeah, but that's cool, though.
And he got to meet people that, like,
really cool.
I think he was...
Like, his third cousin or something like that.
Right, and it's like...
That's cool, though.
like you would never think, like all the way across the world, bro.
Yeah.
That's fucking
so
crazy.
So we're going from Florence, where we have some, family history.
Ask around.
I will. Bologna.
Nice.
Which, if you've ever heard of sort of like pasta bolognese.
Yep.
Right?
That's kind
of the birthplace of that. They're also just
Damn, you're food traveling. I heard the pizza, the bolognese.
Yeah. So they sort of are a real food place to travel. We're going from Bologna to Venice. Of course, you can't miss Venice with the gondolas and stuff like that.
Right.
Going with the wife, so you gotta do the romantic shit.
Little bit, yeah.
Then we're going to Verona, which is sort of another romantic-y place. That's the setting of Romeo and Juliet.
Nice.
Obviously, it wasn't a real story, but it's
where it took place in the story.
Where it was supposed to take place in the story, and it's just an interesting place. Also, they eat horse meat there, which I'm totally gonna try.
Let me know, dude.
Because why not, right? I know Italians eat a ton of rabbit, which I'm totally down with. I love rabbit. And in Verona, they eat horse meat, which totally gonna try.
Fuck it, try it.
And then from there, like I said, we go to Athens to Corfu, to Munich, and then to Lisbon and home.
That is fascinating.
Yeah, it's gonna be awesome.
You're making me feel like a fucking sissy, man. I'm scared to go to Texas.
Yeah.
And you're like, I'm going here. Huh?
Yeah. You want to live there.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what I want to do. I'm thinking about it. Like
do some traveling. It's not that bad if you look around. Like, honestly, this trip, like, if you could do this trip, I spent more than this, but you could do this trip for like less than $5,000. I know it's a lot, but like if you saved that for like if you like saved up for it for like a couple of years or whatever,
yeah,
you know what I mean. You could get it together.
Yep. It just seems scary to go all the bro. To me,
who's gonna bother me?
Yeah, well. You're you.
I don't know. I feel safe. I don't feel like there's a problem.
My thing is that my whole family literally stayed in the same city.
Yeah. Salem?
It's crazy. Hell no, Brockton, bro, Massachusetts.
Because I'm from Salem. I don't know if you knew that. Where we are right now.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
So you grew up here and everything. Did you have family members that were that seemed like they were stuck here, like they never left?
No, my family's all over.
That's what I'm saying. My whole family, bro, most of them die in Brockton.
It happens. But now you got to break the cycle.
And that's what I'm trying to do. But it's the more you think about it, it's it's fucking scary.
But you don't necessarily move somewhere, right? To just experience other things. You know what I mean? I always think moving. True. Because I would like to move some places. But then I'm like, I like having family around. Your friends, your training partners at jiu-jitsu. Shit. That would hurt me just to have to leave all my training partners. That's
huge. Right now, I'm a year in, dude.
Yeah, I have such a great group of training partners around me. Some good, solid guys, and the connections and the networking and the jiu-jitsu. I mean...
And the guys at Henzo's give a fuck. It's different than most other places I've been.
Help each other out. I love to travel, though. I mean, in January, I went to Florida on the Space Coast, where they have, SpaceX and Old NASA shit and all that. But we went skydiving. I took my grandpa skydiving.
Yeah, you told me about that. That's fucking crazy, dude. How old is he?
72.
And this man went skydiving. If anybody has any fucking problems with... I fear things.
He had a stroke 7 years ago.
Trying to be like that guy.
He had a stroke 7 years ago, too. And just doesn't give a fuck about it. He does his things. He takes the medicine he's supposed to take and all that. He's not crazy, but...
But he's like, I'm going to live, though.
He doesn't give a fuck, dude.
Yeah.
Out there grinding, doing shit, having a good time. We're planning on doing 100-mile backpacking trip sometime this year.
Bro,
him and I. Yeah.
That's the most inspiring shit in the world.
Yeah, he's the man.
That's insane.
Yeah, it's cool to travel, though.
To be 71 years old.
And it was his idea.
And to be
it wasn't even my idea.
And to be fuck it, let's go skydiving.
Yeah, so it was super cool. After my dad passed away last year, I was like, shit, I got to do some stuff with my grandpa here. He has been a super hard worker since he was born. He was 7 brothers, 7 sisters in a house smaller than this one.
Wow, yeah.
Significantly smaller.
Right.
I'll say. And so he's a super hard worker, super frugal guy. So never went on any big vacations anywhere. Never did. So I was after my dad passed away last year, which is his son.
So he's kind of in that pocket where my family is.
Oh yeah, stayed in Haverhill. He's been at the same house in Haverhill since the 70s.
Wow.
And his whole family was like that. You know what I mean? But I was like, Papa, we got to do some cool shit. You've never done any cool shit. No offense, but you've never done any awesome shit. You know what I mean? So I started to ask him, like, what do you want to do with the first thing? He was like, I want to jump out of an airplane. And I was like, fuck yeah. And this was in, like, November. So I was like, well, we can't go now. Here. So I booked it in Florida. I said, screw it. We'll have a good time. I went down. We flew down. It was actually cool, the whole thing. I got us, like, a car service to the airport, so I gave him, like, the VIP treatment.
Nice.
It wasn't that bad. It was like $100 or whatever. So we took the car service to the airport. I got him on the Economy Plus, the nice, with only 2 seats in the plane. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Not in the plane, but you know what I mean? Like, the 2x2s instead of the 3x3s.
Yep.
We went down. I rented him a Corvette. It was cheap.
That's fucking awesome,
Super
dude.
cheap, though. I used Turo.
But you're intelligently doing the things that you're like, this is gonna be fucking good for him. Like, he's gonna enjoy this.
Yeah, so I think I rented it for like $50 a day.
That's fucking awesome.
You know what I mean? It was like a Corvette Stingray jazz up. I think it was super.
$50 a day?
Something like that. It's cheap.
That's awesome.
Like, I was down there for like 5 days. I think it was like, I don't know, $300 total. It was like to go through Hertz.
But to whip around with a fucking.
Yeah. So to go through Hertz and rent like a Honda Civic, it was like $220. So for the extra like $80, like fuck,
why not?
Corvette.
Yeah.
And that was sick. And then we went skydiving. We also went snorkeling with manatees, which was cool. We got to see like 50 manatees. Super cool. They were like bumping up against us and shit. It was awesome. And then I'm trying to take him on. He wanted to go. He's like, I want to hike the Appalachian Trail. And I'm like, well, that's cool. I
dude.
I don't have 4 months to give you. I was like, but I'll take you on a long ass backpack. I don't think
We'll do something.
He said it, but I don't think he really understood the scope.
Yeah, it's a long fucking trip.
You know what I mean?
My stepdad's trying to get me to do that
So
shit, and I'm like,
he didn't get educated appropriately until he was much older.
right.
So this is a super interesting story, actually. My grandfather's one of like 16 or whatever it is, a shitload of kids.
Yeah.
And he has a twin brother who is mentally handicapped.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what he has because he's 70 years old and they called him retarded. That was what the word they used. I'm sorry it can be a little bit yucky. People don't like that word, but that's what he was labeled at the time. And I think he's probably severely autistic or something like that, you know. But so my grandfather, who was perfectly normal, maybe a little slow in school or whatever, but grew up like that, of course. So he was like institutionalized until he was like high school age.
His brother or him?
Both. Yeah, because it was his twin, they just assumed.
Oh, that's nice.
Oh, well, it's, we're talking about the 50s and the 60s.
Yeah, they didn't know any better.
You know what I mean? They're like, they must. He was probably struggling in school a little bit, and they're like, they must both be, a problem or whatever. Yeah. So then, when he was like 15 or so, they were like, this is like a normal kid.
Yeah.
But instead of like trying to introduce him to school in an appropriate fashion, they just like threw him in the local high school. From being institutionalized since you were 5 to just like, here you go.
Oh, here's the public.
Yeah, here's the public school that you don't know how to read, you don't know how to write.
That's fucking crazy.
So like my grandfather, I remember he could read at a rudimentary level, but I can remember when I was a kid, he took care of me a lot when I was a kid. My mom and him had opposing schedules.
Yep.
So he would take care of me a lot.
Yeah.
And I remember him reading children's books to me to learn how to read.
Whoa.
Yeah, in his like 50s. Like he could read them, but you could tell he was like, the dog and the cat went to the. Do you know what I mean? So it was still like developing those skills like in his 40s and his 50s. Do you know what I mean? And it's so crazy to see now, super inspiring, because now he's a super well-read guy. Is he the most educated on paper guy? No. Does he say shit that's totally off the wall because he was just never educated appropriately? Yeah. But a lot of the stuff he says, super intelligent.
But he's come incredibly far from where he started.
Crazy incredibly far. Especially he's a super religious guy, which isn't totally my bag, but he's not one of those, I'm going to stuff it down your throat guys. So I'm cool with it.
He believes in his thing and lets you do your thing.
Yeah, he'll tell you about it, but if you just say, hey man, I'm not interested, he'll be like, oh, okay. And he'll talk to you about whatever, you know?
Right.
But, like, you could be like, can you tell me what's Matthew 38, chapter 38, verse 4? And he would just, like, crazy memory.
So, well read, but in what he likes.
Yeah, you know what I mean? So, super interesting. The guy's just kind of a boss. Like, this past year...
Bro, if you're in your fucking 70s and you go skydiving, I got nothing to say to you.
Like, so his brother, who, believe it or not, lives independently.
Nice.
So, his brother, twin brother, who was 72 and was institutionalized when he was a kid and everything, lives in his own place, shops for his own food, cooks for himself, cleans his house, fucking takes care of his own self, you know what I mean? But so his brother's neighbor was taking down a field stone wall. My grandfather, being super frugal, like, guy, was like, don't get rid of those. He was going to have some guy come pick up all the rocks and get rid of them. He had been, and there's still some over there, and we've been doing it together. But he's taking these rocks one by one, and I'm not talking about rocks. I'm talking about fucking
boulders.
Like boulders that I'm struggling to pick up. And I don't fancy myself a weak guy.
Yep.
And he's hucking them in the truck, back of his truck, unloading them and building a fieldstone wall at his house just because he was bored.
Yeah.
You know? Some people are just built differently.
Yeah, that's one of them.
You know what I mean?
For sure.
Yeah. I had him get his... This is wild. So, he was having some male issues, as you do when you're 72 years old. Right? And I was like, hey, go get your testosterone. But he also had some other stuff. He had prostate cancer briefly and some other shit like that. So I was like, go get your testosterone levels checked. Just see, right? Do you know his testosterone levels were like 855 at 72 years?
What the fuck was he at in his 20s? Holy shit.
So I wonder. I'm like, Jesus Christ, what was this guy like when he was 20 years old? He must have been
Have you seen pictures of him?
Yeah, he's pretty cool looking guy. But you got to remember the time in which he grew up.
Right.
Right? So
I think that just back then it was different. I think testosterone levels have just plummeted.
Wait a minute. So that's like a statistical fact.
Yeah.
That over the past 100 years, testosterone levels. Sorry about this. Somebody is using me as a reference, and I have to give her my thing. And I'm going to get those pictures for you.
Yeah, no problem.
So, yeah, I mean, they have gone down a ton. And here's the picture that I thought was pretty wild. This is him, like, in, I think it was like 1981 or something like that.
Hell yeah, dude.
Dog, you know what I mean? And then,
he looks like a big dude, too.
He's not. He's actually kind of a small guy.
That's just a picture?
Yeah.
Yeah, he looks...
definitely an interesting character. This was another good one, too, with a sick... He's always had a sick mustache. He has one of the best mustaches on the planet, to me. No, he does. And then he shaved it up, so his mom passed away many years ago. His mom lived to be like 1 million, like super old, like 98 or something like that.
Yeah.
And he shaved out his mustache. And I was like, me and his wife were like, listen, you gotta grow up back.
We need that mustache.
I can't see you like this. It's bad. So he finally, he grew his hair out long. Like he's got a ponytail now.
Nice.
And thick ass mustache. I'll show you. I took a picture of him the other day. We were playing cards and hanging out. And
bro, the fact that he's 71 years old has a ridiculous amount of testosterone in his body and still has a full head of hair.
No, I wouldn't call it a full head of hair by any means. But yeah, it's hair.
But it's hair.
Yeah. So that was him just the other day.
Yeah, man. Thick
he looks mustache, ponytail.
He looks happy.
Oh, yeah.
And that's fucking great.
Yeah, super happy guy. Super interesting guy to talk to. You know, you got to get around the fact that his education is poor because it's hard. Sometimes you listen to him and you're like, oh.
Yeah.
Like, you don't know how to use the right words. And it's tough sometimes because I do come from a background where I was formally educated pretty well. Grew up around a lot of people that were formally educated pretty well. So the way that I talk and the way that I interact is a little bit different than somebody who, you know, had a second grade education.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So sometimes you're like, you just don't understand the meaning of words.
Yeah.
But it's okay. But the cool thing about him that I think is such a badass thing that most older men and older people don't do is he wants you to check him. When he says or does stupid shit,
he wants you to be like, no.
Be like, cut that shit out. What are you fucking doing? Like, and if you don't, he'll get upset with you. He'll be like, why would you let me look like an idiot?
Yeah.
Like, and if he says something, and you like, he'll thank you. He'll be like, thank you. So much. Like, I was trying to. He was talking about religion or something like that, and he was like, the facts are. I'm like, stop. When you're talking about religion, you can't use the word facts.
Right.
It's just not. You can use the word beliefs.
Theory's better.
Theories, beliefs, feelings,
yeah,
emotions, all these things, traditions,
mm-hmm.
right? Historical things that maybe make your religion seem more likely.
Right.
Right? But he's using the word, this is a fact. No, it's not. It's not a fact. And I had to explain to him, listen, a fact is something that you can show me why it works. You can prove gravity's a fact because when you throw a ball, it falls to the ground.
Right.
Right? That's a fact, scientific fact. Right? You can't say that it's a fact that every person came from Adam and Eve. it's just wrong, right? Genetically, it would never work. You would just have a bunch of inbred, crazy people. You know what I mean? And two, it's just logistically doesn't make any sense. Like, that would take eons to go from 2 to 7 billion. Do we have now something like that? 8 billion people.
Yeah.
Logistically, it's not real. Right?
Yeah.
You can believe in your religion, and I don't give anybody a hard time. My wife works at a Catholic school, right? I'm not anti anything, but some of the stuff that people say, it's like, come on, just use your brain for a minute there.
Noah's Ark, things like this.
Like, well, Noah's Ark actually has some historical backing, weirdly. Not necessarily that it was, the story is obviously super overblown, but there is some historical reference to big, huge floods and people sort of saving animals in boats.
Right.
That is sort of a quasi-historical story. But if you look back pre-Christianity, right, at a lot of other religious or spiritual texts, they tell a lot of the same stories.
Yes. I have a great book called, I think it's called The Secret History of the World.
I feel like I've read it.
I think the guy's name that wrote it, I think it's a fake name, but I think it's like Mock Black or something like that.
I feel like I've also read this. So if you look, there's a lot of like similarities in all different things. And then if you start to learn a little bit about religions, and you look at like the three, do you know what the 3 most common religions are in the world?
Tell me.
So this could be wrong as far as statistically the amount of people, but the way I was educated at least, there's 3 huge religions. Islam.
Yep.
Christianity.
And Judaism.
And Judaism.
Yeah.
Right? You have the other ones. There's a ton of Hindus out there.
Yeah.
You know, like in India, there's a million different other religions. You go to Africa, you go to India, you go to all these different places. There's like tons and tons and tons of different religions. But these are the big ones that I'm going to talk about. If you look at all 3 of them,
there are parallels.
It's the same dice.
Right.
It's the same thing.
Yeah.
6 to 1, half dozen the other. They just have a little bit different customs and beliefs. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But I remember, and it was, of course, just because of the way that I was raised and stuff like that. I remember being a kid, and I thought like Muslims were bad.
Mm-hmm.
Because of like the Iraq War and all
9/11.
that. 9/11, and you're like...
It was posted on the news.
It was posted on the news, and I'm like 7 years old, 8 years old, whatever. Like, I mean...
And it was very hard to get outside information from like like back then.
I mean, like in 2001, I was 6.
Right.
You know what I mean? So like you just grew up like, Muslims are bad. And then when you become like an adult...
Or they're to be feared.
Right, or something like that. You know what I mean? I grew up in sort of a military household, so it was like, fuck them. You know
right,
what I mean?
right.
And it was just like, what? Like, so my mom said, that's what her ex-husband, husband at the time said, and that was just like, I guess fuck Muslim people. You know what I mean? But then you grow up to be an adult, and you meet all these awesome people that are Muslim. You meet all these awesome people that are Jewish. You meet all these awesome people that are Christians, and you realize, you're like, oh, fuck that religion shit.
Right.
It has nothing to do with it. It has to do, are you a good person, or are you a shitty person?
Right.
And that's the way I judge everybody. You know what I mean? I try to meet everybody where they're at and say, what's your deal?
Yeah.
You know?
That's the way to be. I think we all... it's fucked up because we all grow up with that, like... most people in America, you're going to grow up in a household full of, like, 3 to 5, maybe more, but, like, average people.
Yeah.
And you get things from your mother, you get things from your father.
Oh, yeah.
You get things from,
grandparents, aunts, uncles, friends.
Right,
all these different things.
And a lot of us have, like, these grandparents that went through Vietnam, or they went through fucking World War II, or whatever, and then you're, you know, like you said, your mother was married to a military guy.
Yeah.
My mother was married to a military guy.
You know what I mean? That's enough in and of itself to be like, fuck, man.
Yeah, and it's like you get these biased opinions on these subjects, and it's really hard to break it, but you start realizing as you get older, like, wait, homie over here, that like he's not a bad dude.
And then like something crazy that I ran into recently, and I can humble myself enough to say this because it's kind of crazy.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like I can say it because a lot of people I guarantee, feel the same way, and they just don't know.
Yeah.
I 100% thought Africa was lions and tigers and bears and fucking jungle. Forever.
Right.
I thought that's what it was. I don't know what school you went to, but where I went, that's what they taught us.
Yeah.
They taught us about deserts and jungles. Are you kidding me? Africa's got huge metropolitan cities. And individual countries in Africa.
South Africa looks like America.
right? They just talk about Africa, and what you don't realize is there's like a cajillion countries in there that each have their own beautiful and interesting culture and traditions.
Right.
And all of these things that are so interesting. The food? Stop it. Have you ever eaten African food before?
A few times.
It's better than all the other food on the planet.
Yeah.
Sorry. I'm Italian. I love Italian food or whatever. African food makes Italian food look like dog shit on a plate.
My sort of newfound interest is in I can't think of the fucking country, but Middle Eastern food.
Yeah, Lebanese food, Middle Eastern food, Arabic food.
I found out I was Lebanese like by
Lebanese
accident.
Food's off the chain, and I love that pipe they smoke out.
We thought we were fucking Native American for years.
Hilarious.
Years. And then they were like, nah, you're Lebanese. And I'm like,
yeah.
Alright, fuck all the things I thought of in the past.
Lebanese food is actually off the chain. Joseph, my friend there that used to train in Henzo's,
Iranian food. That was the one I was trying to think of. I fucking love it, dude.
Lebanese food's off the chain.
Yeah.
Do you ever mess with Indian food?
Oh, yeah.
Because Indian foods, have you been to a place here down in Salem? Grand India or whatever?
No.
Super great.
There's another place called Kashmir.
Kashmir's the best. Kashmir's the industry standard.
The Indian dude down the street, I think they're from Bangladesh. They were telling me fucking go to Kashmir. If you want good Indian food, go to Kashmir.
Kashmir's really good. I cannot say one bad thing about Kashmir. Their food's dope. But this other Indian place, Grand India it's called.
Okay.
It's over in the plaza where the Coliseum is.
I fucking love the Coliseum too.
Yeah.
Frank works over there.
Does he?
Yeah.
I didn't know that. I didn't know Frank worked.
Frankie. Blue belt.
I don't know if I know who you're talking about.
You do.
Unfortunately.
He wears the headgear.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
I know that guy.
He works over there.
Yeah, so the Indian food place right in that plaza.
Yep.
It's really good. Grand India it's called. They have awesome naans. They have this one naan that's flaky like a croissant.
Rock kill for a good naan.
It's just naan's so good. Naan's so good. But I love all that kind of Middle East. I know India's not Middle Eastern, it's Asian, but all that Middle Eastern stuff's off the chain. I love that pipe they smoke out of with the hose, the water pipe.
What the fuck they call
hookah?
it? Hookah, yeah.
Whatever they call it. Love that.
I got to admit, I tried that one time and I fucking tasted blueberry for 3 days and I was hungover.
Yes.
Not a good time.
You did too much of it.
Yeah.
Number one. B, you got to do it with the Lebanese people. That's the ticket.
I was hanging out with 2 Indian dudes at a bar in fucking, I think, Concord.
There's a place here that a friend of mine brought me to, Sahara. Really cool. They have the hookah thing and they have a full bar, but they also have like Lebanese food.
Nice.
I went there the other day and we got some like pita bread and hummus and grape leaves and stuff like that, and we had the hookah and it was just nice to have a couple of cocktails, relaxed. It's over in Methuen, but very close to here, sort of like by the Loop.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Very good food. I love that pipe that they smoke, the hookah thing. I think it's great. Can't do too much of it though. You will get a horrific hangover.
Yeah.
Especially
well, I was also drinking fucking a shitload of vodka that night, so that didn't help.
Yeah.
And I broke my ankle. That was I was trying to show my brother whatever the fuck I was trying to show him, like an escape from a headlock.
Which can be so hard sometimes.
Oh yeah, so I had just started doing jiu-jitsu and I was like in that fucking mindset where I was like, I'm tough now. I'm fucking tough now.
Yeah.
And it was funny cause it was like one of them things where I was like, get me in a headlock, and he got me in that headlock where I'm bent over and my head's in the front.
Yeah.
And I tried to like
guillotine position.
Yep, and I tried to step around his leg.
And trip him. Right?
And trip him. And what happened was, I was wearing logger boots, and we were shit-faced.
Yeah,
after a long day of drinking. Yeah. And he was wearing fucking combat boots. And one of his boot, essentially when I tripped him, he fell, and his boot smashed on my fucking ankle. And I got it wasn't broken, but it was like a stage 3 sprain.
Oh, sprain.
Yeah. And it was this entire front of my foot was just ruined.
Like drunk jiu-jitsu is a lot of fun. I remember
it is, but it's so easy to get hurt.
I remember one time I maybe had just got my blue belt, or I'd been like white belt before tips or whatever. I'd been training for almost 2 years. And I was hanging out with my cousin who sort of lived with my family for a long time. He's sort of like a brother. I call him my brother. I refer to him as my brother all the time.
Yep.
Because it just makes more sense. And he used to be an alcoholic. We'll just call it the way it is. You know what I mean? Had a problem with drinking. But we were hanging out. It was New Year's Eve. I think it was me and him and then the buddy is. They're both in the Army and stuff. And I was just starting jiu-jitsu kind of a couple of years in. Like, that jiu-jitsu shit's stupid. Now I had some mats downstairs. Some, like, foam mats in the basement. But it was just little puzzle piece mats in concrete. And Ryan was like, I'll fuck you up, blah, 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 blah. And I was like, let's go out to the mats. Let's have a good time. No, we're both
drunk.
Let's just call it what it is.
Yeah.
Right. So I'm like, you can hit me, you can do whatever. He throws a big right hook, duck under, body lock, pick him up, boom, slam him on the. They were talking about mats like this.
Right.
Concrete. Puzzle piece mats. I literally think I got him at
It
5.
still hurt.
Oh, it hurt. I was like, slam!
Yeah.
Took his bag, choked him in like a second. And he's like, that's a fluke, so I did it again one more time.
A fluke.
Yeah, that's what he said. He's like, that's bullshit, you got lucky. And then I did it again like 4 times, each time like getting it faster and faster. The first time I let him play a little bit, the next time even less, and then the last one I just grabbed him, fucking put him on the ground.
He's all fucking, I'm not warmed up. You're like, yeah, me neither.
Yeah, me neither. So then he's like, you're a pussy, Ryan, blah, 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 whatever. Ryan's a decent sized fella, at least. He's like 5'11", 6 foot. At the time, he was probably 170.
Yep.
Now he's about 5'11", 6 foot, like 200. He looks like a shit house now. But in his buddy, Albie, good guy, Albie, maybe like 5'8", 155.
My size.
Yeah, approximately. And no jiu-jitsu training, just the Army, whatever, combatives kind of thing. And so I take him down, choke him out a bunch of times, put him in an arm bar, wet willy in him and shit. You know what I mean?
Just fucking with him.
But I have so many drunk jiu-jitsu stories, it's not even funny.
Those are the best ones, though. I've heard a bunch of them from people just...
Have you met my friend Jack? He trains at Henzo's sometimes. He's a redhead dude, real wiry, maybe like 165, 170, wrestler.
Does he bring his kids in?
No kids.
No?
No.
I don't think so.
Regardless.
I know the only redhead I can remember is a guy that constantly brings... he's always bringing his kids in.
Jack's got no kids. He's a wild man. We were at Saco Beach. You ever floated down the Saco?
No.
Well, okay, so in New England, it's kind of
Maine, right?
A thing. Yeah, that people do in Maine mostly. Sometimes a little bit in New Hampshire. There's Saco River. It's sort of a slow-flowing, low river. Safe. You can float down in tubes or kayaks, canoes, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a campground you can stay at called Fiddlehead Campground. It's a complete shithole, but it's the place to stay. If you want to party and tear it up and drink beers and get fucked up, that's the spot to go. You know what I mean? Don't go there to sleep because they're going to party till fucking 4 in the morning.
Right.
It's just the spot that you're at. They tell you on the thing. Like, do not expect quiet hours at Tenant Lake. You know, there will be parties going on all fucking night long. Blah, blah, blah.
Right. This is not the peaceful fucking getaway.
No. And you had to have a 4-wheel drive to get to the place where you're going to camp because it's on a beach. Deep-ass sand beach.
Yeah.
Right? So we're there, and I went with Jack. Jack's 2 years younger than me, or maybe a year and a half, whatever, but he was 2 school years, or a year and a half, whatever, younger than me. So, and he went to college elsewhere from where I went, so he had a whole different set of friends. We went with Jack, and his friends. We're at Saco. And at this point, I had maybe been training jiu-jitsu for like 3 years. I had a blue belt. Just kind of started at Henzo's, and I'm hanging back. They're all wrestling in the sand, but I'm kind of hanging back because they're all just fucking around.
Yep.
And I was bigger than all of them and knew a fair bit of jiu-jitsu. And then Jack's like, come on, get over here. So I start wrestling with Jack. I fuck Jack up. I fuck all his buddies up. Embarrass them. You know what I mean? They don't know what they're doing.
Right.
It's
wild that...
Yeah, not because I'm really good at jiu-jitsu, because they have no idea what they're doing.
But because you're consistently training, and these people have zero experience.
So it's like playing with a baby.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's not even an accomplishment. It's like you can throw them around like ragdolls. They know what they're doing.
Yeah.
You know, you get them off balance and it's over.
Done.
You get them one off balance and it's over. And as soon as you're on the ground, they have no idea what they're doing and they just freak out.
Right.
So then Jack's like, all right, one more. And I'm like, Jack, enough. You've had like 35 beers.
Sit down.
Yeah, just fucking relax. Like,
let's enjoy the night.
And I told him, I go, if we do this again, I'm going to fucking beat the shit out of you a little bit. Like, I'm done. I've had enough playing.
Yeah.
I don't want to play anymore, as the kids would say, you know? And he's like, come on, motherfucker. And I'm like, all right, dude. Peg him up, slam him on the sand, like big up, big down in the sand. I'm mounting him and I'm just slapping the shit out of him. Just hitting him with close fists.
Just playing with him,
Just fucking slapping him in the head, slapping him in the face, twisting his nipples and shit. You know, fucking with him.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
It's like, I told you.
Yeah, I told you about wet willing. Not like hurting him, just, you know. And then he starts getting a little feisty and he's scratching me a little bit with his nail. He's caught. right? So you can't really blame him. He wasn't trying to be a bad guy. He's just
trying to
survive,
mess with you too.
and I'm torturing.
Right.
So then he turns his back to me. Horrific mistake.
Yeah.
Right. So I hip in, flatten him out on his belly. His face is in
the sand.
Smashed in the sand. I'm like, motherfucker, are you done yet? Are you done yet? And then he turns and rolls his hips and bites me right in the chest. Like
oh no.
Fucking chomps down on my chest, leaves a huge fucking. So at this point, I fucking slap him one more time, and I just stood up. I'm like, enough, you asshole! Don't fucking bite me. And he was so drunk, his face was all full of sand. He's all full of sand. I ended up fucking bringing him up to the showers and fucking hosing him down because he's
helping him out.
Cocked.
Yeah.
He's got sand everywhere.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because at this point, I had been scrubbing his face in the sand. He had long hair like
Jesus.
I'm putting fucking sand in his hair. Yeah, I'm just being an asshole at this point because I want it to be done.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I was like, I've had enough. This was fun and all. All the other guys there had enough. It was over.
You'd given him fair warning,
yeah, it was over. You know what I mean? But it's so funny to be, and some people would look at that and be like, you guys are fucking nuts. It's fun sometimes.
It is.
Men were made to challenge each other a little bit, and I feel like if you're friends, if you never sort of physically play, I know that sounds crazy as an adult, but if you're
you're right.
Playing with your friends, like your grown-ass men friends, what the fuck are you doing? It's the funnest thing. Right? I hate that guy on Instagram and all that. He's an asshole. Who's the guy? He's an asshole to women. And he used to be a kickboxer.
Talking about Andrew Tate?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I hate 99.999% of the shit he says. Because he's an asshole and he's misogynistic, and I'm not like that. I grew up around all women. I respect women. I'm not cool with that. But he does talk about one thing, is that brotherhood is, like, gone.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's, like, important that you have some dudes in your life that you can sort of really
fuck around with.
Rely on. But not only just that you can really rely on.
Yeah.
When you need, you know what I mean? If I call Jack, it's over. I need, if I need him for something, it's like, I'll be right there. Do you know what I mean? And I feel like you don't develop those bonds without sort of physically having that time of, like, I don't want to call it play because it sounds a little bit weird as, like, an adult to call it play, but that's kind of what it is. Do you know what I mean? Like, dudes were not meant to be sedentary. Women either, but I can only speak to men because I'm a man. Yeah. Right? Is that men were not made to sit on the couch and fuck off and do nothing. You know what I mean? I'm a goddamn bear. A bear when I'm not physically active. When I was out after my motorcycle accident and I had a broken wrist or whatever, I was a nightmare to be around. Just an absolute, utter nightmare to be around.
And it's because you weren't training.
Oh, yeah, I wasn't getting out that extra energy in that,
Bro, that's fucking huge.
Yeah.
Like, every time...
It makes you a better person.
Yeah.
I always tell everybody who wants to start jiu-jitsu, I'm not saying I'm better than you because I do jiu-jitsu, but you will be a better you.
100%. 100%.
I'm not saying that because I do jiu-jitsu and you don't, not you, but whoever, you don't, it doesn't make me better than you, but if you did jiu-jitsu, you would be a better you.
Yeah.
And I am a better me than I was before because of jiu-jitsu.
And a more informed you. Like, you fucking realize what your limitations are.
Yeah.
And that's a huge thing. Dude, think about how many people grow... Like, I grew up in a shitty neighborhood.
Yeah, I'm familiar with Brockton.
Yeah, so, like, where I grew up, everybody's fighting. Everybody's fucking... Yeah. Everybody's in alpha.
Yeah, it's the hood.
Right? So...
But are they really, though?
No!
Yeah, so that's the funny thing, is dudes... I find that any dude that claims to be an alpha is
ain't
probably
shit.
Not very alpha male-esque.
But, well, it's not... Okay, so it's not just alpha. I just use that as a word.
No, it's just funny, though.
But everybody's got this fucking weird jail mentality where it's that. It's like, fucking, you ain't gonna fucking... Fuck you. It's like, but at the end of the day...
Until you beat the shit out of them... And they're like, oh, what?
I didn't tell anybody that I did jiu-jitsu for 2 years.
Yeah.
I was afraid.
Yeah, I would. I don't blame you.
You know why?
Yeah.
Because I was thinking if the second I start doing that, people are going to start trying to test me.
Yeah.
And
that's the suck.
Lo and behold, people found out.
Just being a smaller guy, Everybody wants to fucking...
That jiu-jitsu shit ain't going to fucking work on me.
See, people understand the consequences a little bit more when they see somebody my size. And they're like, oh, fuck, he's like, 5'10", 240. Even if he doesn't know jiu-jitsu, he might slap the shit out of me, which is so funny because anybody who knows me only as an adult would cut, and I don't want to put other people's words in my mouth, but most people would say, oh, he's a pretty tough bastard. Like,
I would.
That's a sort of badass guy.
I've rolled with you. I would.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like, not anything crazy. I'm no fucking UFC. Those guys, all the power to them. Right, but compared to
No,
the
but
average Joe,
at your
I'll fuck a motherfucker up.
Yeah, and it's not like you're not saying this as like a fucking like.
No.
Like there are plenty of guys that we train with.
To make a point of it is that if you compare that to like say when I was in high school or I was such a sissy.
Right.
Believe it or not, I got like picked on a lot.
Yep.
And it's funny too because I was a big guy at the time. Like I was not quite this size. I'm much more filled out and muscularly developed now. But freshman year of high school, I was 5'10", 210.
Yeah. Still a big guy.
Big as fuck. It's about the size I am now. I'm just more filled out.
60 pounds bigger than me.
Yeah, you know. So I remember getting picked on and stuff like that. And it's so funny. I was such a sissy. You know what I mean? I would get hit too hard in the football field. I'd be like crying on the side. I wouldn't say it. You know what I mean? I'd hide it.
Do it by yourself.
Yeah, I didn't want anybody to know. But I'd be like, oh, my shoulder. I'm fucking got tears on the other side. You know what I mean? And I would go home and fucking cry. Because
I literally can't even fucking picture that. I've trained with you. I can't picture that.
But when I was a kid, that was really it. And it took me a lot. I was always sort of like, nobody really ever physically challenged me, though, because I was huge.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So, like, it was always the emotional game. And I sort of grew up in a tough environment. The place was great. Salem, New Hampshire is a beautiful place.
Well, you grew up with military people. And
I grew up, my mother's ex-husband was a complete piece of shit, super physically abusive, and not physically abusive, rather, emotionally abusive and stuff like that. Just not a good person. You know what I mean? I always call it, like, I lived in an eggshell house. Do you know what I mean by that?
You were walking on eggshells. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
Because otherwise, you didn't want to get the wrath of Bob. You know what I mean? Which was my mother's ex-husband, right? So I emotionally was a not well put together kid. Do you know what I mean? I did good. I got good grades and stuff like that. But I was always getting picked on. I always had bad self-esteem and stuff like that. And then I started jiu-jitsu, and I remember getting the fucking shit beaten out of me. But it was such a friendly... Like, I remember in high school and stuff, you'd play football and stuff, and they'd fucking beat the bag out of you. And then they'd laugh at you.
And be like, ha, fucker.
Yeah, you know what I mean? And that would make you even less inclined to want to do it.
Be like, why do I want to keep coming back here?
Right. Versus jiu-jitsu, they beat the shit out of you and they give you a
shake
big
your
hug,
hand.
And you'd be like, hey, man, great job. Keep up the good work.
Yeah.
And it toughens you up. And I came up with some really hard motherfuckers.
It's the encouragement.
Yeah. Like, I came up with Anthony and, you know...
It's
I don't know if you
fucking
know
axe murderers. I know, like, Keith. I'm friends with Keith.
Savage motherfuckers. That there was no, like, oh, sorry. Like, it was that crossface was coming.
Yeah.
Right, that neon belly was coming.
You were getting pressure.
Yeah, from minute one. And I was a big, strong guy. Like, at my heaviest, when I first started jiu-jitsu, I was very heavy. Like, say, 300 pounds almost?
Yeah.
275, 280, 300 pounds, you know what I mean? And now I'm a little soft today in the last couple weeks, but I'm like 240 now. The smallest I've been is like 200. And I'm usually around like
240, you fucking move, bro.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I'm very. I'll take another one. You got the thing, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm very dense for 240. That's the other thing is that if you won't find a lot of guys 5'10".
It's very hard to move around you.
240 with a sort of the shape that I am.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's a weird shape. I have a friend Nick who's about this size, and we call it the cube physique. Cheers to that one, buddy.
Absolutely.
Because you want to hear something crazy about all that. I wear like a 33-inch waist.
Yeah. But the rest of your body is fucking
huge
out here.
Yeah. You know what I mean? So it's like actually kind of funny when you go to get like a suit made.
They're like you gotta wear a different person's coat.
Yeah, so it's super weird because now again I'm not a huge guy, but I'm proportionally very odd. So they're doing the shoulder measuring and they're like, dude, you got like fucking 60-inch chest and like a fucking 30-inch waist. Like, what are we making, a fucking suit for a dresser? It doesn't even make any sense. Not 60 is probably exaggerated, but you know what I mean?
Yeah. Feel like they're making a suit for an ape.
Yeah, like it's so peculiar, and I always have to get shit tailored and stuff like that. Because even like I'll buy like 5-inch inseam shorts, right? And they're like going past my knee, and I'm like, what the fuck? These are supposed to be like short ones, you know? And so I've gotten very familiar with a few tailors and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But it's crazy what jiu-jitsu can do for you as a person. And it's also just like, it's going to give you, Tim says this, jiu-jitsu will give you whatever you want out of jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
Right? So if you want better mental health, jiu-jitsu will help you with that. If you want to make friends, jiu-jitsu will help you with that. If you want to get in better shape, jiu-jitsu will help you with that. If you want to learn how to defend yourself, jiu-jitsu will help you with that. If you just want to have a good time, jiu-jitsu will help you with that.
Right.
You know what I mean? And the confidence that it gives you on a day-to-day basis that allows you to be super humble and super chill all the time is crazy. Because I know, and this isn't a brag thing, I know that 99% of circumstances out there in the world, if they become physical, I'm going to be in control of what happens.
Yeah.
It's not going to be you that decides who gets hurt. I'm going to decide who gets hurt. Do you know what I mean? And I can make that decision most times. So it allows you to be so much more relaxed and chill. You know, I need somebody that pushes you at a bar when you are kind of that guy like you were talking about. And you're like, fucking get away from me, blah, blah, blah. Jiu-jitsu, don't worry about it, man. No problem.
It's all good. He's having a bad day.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Or the guy's like, I want to fight. Let's go. You're like, come on, man. You're too tough for me. I don't want that. Like,
it's fucked up. Yeah, but you're right, 100%.
Because you know, right?
So before I started training, it was like that mentality of like, where I grew up, the city, it's like
that's the way you act.
You have this fucking thing of like, I'm gonna get as big as you're gonna get, and fuck you, and like, dude,
which is super funny because once you learn how to fight for real,
you're a lot more humble.
Well, and those people make you laugh.
Well, that too.
You know what I mean? You're like,
okay, you're fucking going. I'm scared. Are you scared? I'm scared.
Well, that's what it is. When dudes are like sticking their chest out, usually the quietest guys
is the one that'll fucking
the ones that'll beat the shit out
destroy you.
Look at Nick.
Yeah.
Nick Fiore, no matter how he's done in his past couple of UFC fights, that is a bad motherfucker.
100%.
And any regular ass dude that wants a problem with Nick Fiore is gonna get their fucking head beat.
Right.
He's going to literally beat the shit out of you.
If he wants.
If he decided to.
Honestly, he could just take you to the ground and hold you there.
Yeah.
He doesn't even have to do nothing. You're going to feel like a fucking child.
You know who said it that I thought was really funny? Brendan Schaub?
Mm-hmm.
He said one time, Brian Cowan, the other podcast guy, he was like, I can take you, Schaub. And Brendan Schaub goes, listen, buddy, I could hold you on the ground and put my dick in your mouth.
Yeah, dude. What are you going to do?
Yeah.
That's a fucking 6'6" gorilla of a man.
Gorilla that's a black belt in jiu-jitsu.
Right. And has UFC experience.
Right, UFC experience.
What the fuck are you going to do against that guy?
Was a Division I college athlete.
Right.
You know
football player.
Yeah, football player. A gorilla. There's nothing you can do. There's nothing I can do.
He could not train for 10 years and still beat the shit out of you. You're right.
Yeah. Which is crazy.
Yeah.
I've gotten the opportunity to train with so many interesting guys, and it's so cool in jiu-jitsu because it's sort of a developing sport. The average guys like you and I can get out there and share the mats with some high-level competition.
Straight killers.
Do you know what I mean? I've gotten to roll with Nick. I've gotten to roll with Rob Font.
Yeah.
I've gotten to roll with Calvin Cater.
Yeah.
Did they beat the bag out of me? Of course they did. They're
of course.
I'm a nerd. I don't claim to be, compared to the average bear, fine. But a professional, you're going to beat the shit out of me 100 times out of 100.
You give yourself less credit than I think you deserve. But
different levels. No, I mean, I've rolled with them. I know how it goes. You know what I mean?
No, I'm just saying, like, you say compared to the average bear. And I'm like, even the experienced bear is going to have a fucking troubled time trying to fight you.
Well, I appreciate that. It's very kind of you, but I don't always feel
every time I've rolled with you, I think it's only been 2 or 3 times, but every time I've rolled with you, I felt like, what the fuck do I do now? Like, I move an arm, it's gone. I move a leg, it's gone.
Yeah. Well, I also do like to play a game of cat and mouse with people. Like, I like to wait. I'm a wait-and-see guy.
You're like a relaxed, aggressive jiu-jitsu player. It's fucking weird.
Yeah, it's super aggressive but super slow.
Yeah.
Because I have that explosivity, but I'm not an endurance guy.
You use it at the right times.
Yeah, I'm not an endurance guy. I don't have the Anthony thing. Right? Anthony is like...
Dude can just go.
Go, attack. Not me. I get on top of you, and I'm trying to break your will. Frankly, that's what I'm trying to do. Now, does it work all the time?
And it fucking works.
Maybe for you. There's a lot of people, though. There's a lot of people that I can't break them down, and I try really hard to sort of break their will. I'm driving that neon belly. I'm cross-facing the shit out of them. And they like Kevin Bork. Have you trained with Kevin Bork?
He's a fucking
gorilla.
animal.
He's an ape. Now, granted...
He showed me the punch choke, and I loved it.
He's a monster, that guy. And he only started jiu-jitsu a couple of years ago, and I can't submit him for the life of me.
Yeah.
I haven't submitted him in like 6 months.
He's like rolling with a fucking boulder.
Well, that's because he came up rolling with Anthony.
Yeah.
Me, Chris DiConzolo. I don't know if you know Tugboat Chris.
Yes, I do,
he comes during the day sometimes because when he's around, he trains a lot.
Yeah, I know him.
But he's on a tugboat the rest of the time. That's what he does. He works
that
on tugboat
explains
for a
the
living.
strength.
Yes.
Yeah.
Super strong, but he also wrestled with Anthony when they were little kids. So
it's funny the things you find out later and you're like, oh fuck, that's what. Okay, that makes sense.
Cool,
all of it makes sense.
Jiu-jitsu, besides all the other things I talked about, the number one thing that I feel like we're missing as society these days, that I think jiu-jitsu gives you, is connection.
That brotherhood.
It's just brother, sister, whatever.
Oh yeah. I don't mean it like.
No. I know
men.
what you're saying. I'm just saying it's not even just that brotherhood part. It's also just talking to people.
Yes.
Getting out there and interacting with people in that mat chat, and then having conversations like this that are really candid. Like we were talking before about the cardiac thing that I was sort of getting tested for and all that.
Yep.
And it's like you are now listening and you're like, oh man, I learned all these new things. Like I learned, how's blood made in the body, and oh, the heart's a pump. Wow, that's really interesting. And you're willing to sit here and listen to it and not be embarrassed that you don't know, but just say, wow, that's really
a big
interesting.
fucking thing.
Do you know what I mean? Wow, that's really interesting, but it's because in jiu-jitsu, we've already learned that everybody starts somewhere and gets somewhere.
Right.
Right, in jiu-jitsu, when you go in on your first day, a 120-pound white belt girl is going to beat the shit out of you.
Yep.
That's what happens. Right? Or blue belt girl, let's say. 120-pound blue belt girl is going to strangle the shit out of you, and you're going to be embarrassed, right? But then you keep going and keep going and keep going. And I'm have never really been the guy that's really good at things. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's not really I've always dabbled in a lot of stuff. Tried baseball, sucked at baseball. Tried soccer, sucked at soccer. I was a serviceable football player.
I am very similar, so I relate.
Yeah, I was a serviceable football player. I played, I didn't ride the bench all year.
Right.
It wasn't great.
Right.
Tried golf, sucked at golf. Got into pool for a while, sucked at that. So it's I've never really, this is the thing I've stuck to the longest, is jiu-jitsu. And it's because there's such a culture of everybody sucks.
Yeah.
I remember when my wife started training, she's like, but I'm going to be bad. I'm like, yeah, that's the idea.
Everyone is.
Everybody's trash when they first start jiu-jitsu. It takes a long time to get good at jiu-jitsu, especially as a woman or as a smaller guy.
Yeah.
Right, when I first started, I had such a bump because I was big. You know what I mean? You can lay on top of people, and even if your technique sucks, you can get away with it, at least with lower level people like white belts. You know what I mean? They don't really know what they're doing. Like, not necessarily, you've been a white belt for a long time, so you have a few more tricks up your sleeve than the average, 3-4 stripe white belt or whatever. But you're working on it.
Yeah.
Right? You train a good amount, a couple times a week. And
most of the time I try to train fucking all week, but
it
doesn't always work out. But
you get in there 3-4 times a week, And it's so crazy how you get better every time. And you have some days that suck and some days that are really good, but it's sort of even though the chart's going up and down and you're better and worse and better and worse, it's always going in that direction.
Yeah. Even
if you're getting older and your body's starting to fall apart, your jiu-jitsu technique is still improving right along.
So an example of that is today, I love rolling with Sean, the blue belt. If anybody doesn't, Sean Michelle, Sundance Tattoo Parlor. Let's go.
Sean Michelle Tattoo, out of Sundance Tattoo Parlor, Nashua. I have some tattoos that are awesome from there. He did this brook trout on my arm, as well as his apprentice did some Japanese shit on my legs, which are really cool. Or I like them at least.
They're sick.
Yeah, right? So they do really good work. Todd Bragan is over there. He's the apprentice. And Sean Michelle is over there. He books out a couple of months, but he's a real stud. American Traditional.
He books out a couple of months until somebody cancels on him, and then you can get a spot today.
You can get in quick if you want. You know what I mean? But Sean Michelle's a really good jiu-jitsu practitioner.
So I love rolling with him.
Really good.
And I love rolling with Frankie. With the headgear.
Yes. He's
right?
sort of a Hispanic dude, or maybe
Central
American kind of guy.
Spanish.
Or he speaks Spanish. I know that.
He is. No, he's from his family's from Spain.
Oh, cool. Okay, I knew he spoke Spanish. I didn't know what variety of.
I'm pretty sure he speaks 3 or 4 languages. That guy's fucking intelligent.
Yeah. I do like to roll with him too, and he's very explosive and challenging. I don't know, maybe he wrestled when he was younger.
I don't believe he did.
That wrestler's fire.
I was
you know what I mean?
literally watching him roll today. He's got that ability to just dip his head into it. Yeah, enclose the space and yeah, it's so. I love rolling with them two guys because they give you this input. Especially me as a white belt, I'm I always think I suck. right?
We all do though. That's the thing. Even black belts.
And that's what that's another thing I love about this sport is that it's like
nobody's full of themselves. Even the most badass motherfuckers are like, oh, there's
they all know there's another dude out there that's gonna humble the shit out of them.
Yeah, definitely. It was so interesting. I went to a place in Florida.
You were telling me.
Shout out Red Panda Jiu Jitsu. And it was a great time to go there. But you see the levels of Jiu Jitsu, right? Because you go there and you're like, man, like the black belts were like our blue belts. You know what
Which
I mean?
is wild.
Yeah. And it wasn't that their Jiu Jitsu was bad.
Right. It's
like,
different.
Honestly, some of their blue belts were actually super challenging. A couple of them I like couldn't really finish. Like I got them, like I definitely dominated them, put them in bad positions, but like couldn't finish them. The dad black belt, though, there's a dad and son team that run the school. I only got him by heel hook because they don't train leg locks, and I do. And the son, who's a black belt,
we gotta talk about that. But go ahead.
Yeah, the son that was a black belt, I think I finished him with like the electric chair a couple times and like heel hooks. But so their jiu-jitsu wasn't bad. It wasn't like I was going in there and ripping their arms off and choking them unconscious. I was finishing them with my weird, funny, stupid shit. But it's so interesting to see the levels of jiu-jitsu.
Yes.
You know, that you see at different gyms. But what were you going to ask about?
So we're gonna get to heel hooks in a second.
Yeah.
But I was just saying about Sean and Frankie. When I roll with them, they give me this input. That's like, like
Sean does give good input.
I feel like I'm trash the whole fucking roll. And then Sean comes to me after, and I know these two guys ain't gonna tell me no shit. You know what I mean?
Sean is the most straightforward.
Yeah. Like
doesn't give a fuck. He's gonna tell you the way it is kind of guy.
Right. And
his wife brews dope kombucha. If you like kombucha.
Oh, God damn it! We gotta talk now. I'm gonna have to ask him about that shit. I love kombucha. And yeah. So, all right. So yeah, that you just fucking sidetracked me here.
Sorry,
I gotta try that. But he told me today, like, your pinning is getting good.
Yeah. Yeah, you are getting better at holding people down.
And I'm like, it made me feel so fucking good.
Yeah, it's nice to get good feedback.
Because the whole time we were rolling, I was like, I have zero control. And he was like, no, you're doing all right.
Yeah. It's funny, though, how that works sometimes. The other day, I gave him huge props afterwards, but I had a white belt, like 2-stripe white belt. And I I let myself get into a really bad position, first off. Like, let's not say, if we decided to just go, I'm going to smash this dude 100 times out of 100. But he got me in a really bad spot, and I could not get out from under his side control.
Right.
He had one arm pinned. He was attacking the other one. I was like, fuck, man. And I finally got saved by the bell. I didn't even escape.
That's crazy to hear from you, but
fighting, defending.
I got saved by the bell,
I got saved by the bell. I was like, fuck. I mean, I wasn't in any real danger of being finished at any point. I felt totally
But you were stuck.
But I couldn't move. I couldn't get out. I was so mad. I got him in another roll afterwards, and I was like, motherfucker, you're about to learn
about to pay the tax.
What this jiu-jitsu's about. And I fucking smashed that guy, which is kind of mean, but he you know, you have to keep the balance of
Bro,
things
I
together.
already know if I fucking do something, like, there's been a couple times where I, like, pass the purple belt's guard.
Yeah, you learn.
And I'm like,
you learn really fast.
I'm going to pay for this.
You learn really fast if they let you do it.
Yeah.
Or if you did it on
Yeah.
your own.
Now, there's been them times where I'm like, so, like, when I work with Tom.
Big Tom?
Yes. I know for a fucking fact.
Everything that you do to him is because he let you do it.
Yes, I'm like, yo, every time I get a fucking position or anywhere close to a submission, I know Tom's letting me work.
His defense is so good, though.
Yeah.
He does that shit to me, and it's disheartening as a purple belt. Like, he'll, like, let me get on his back. And
you're like, I know
fuck.
you let me do this,
I
dude.
know. And, like, to a white belt, fine. But when it's a purple belt and then I can't finish him and he's a brown belt, and I'm like, fuck, you let me get this awful position on you. I really should. I'm 10 years younger than you. I really should be able to finish this right now, and I can't, and it's frustrating. But input is always good. Anthony always gives me very good input. If you ever get the chance to roll with Anthony,
I have.
Roll with Anthony whenever you can. It hurts to roll with Anthony.
He's actually really nice to white belts.
He can be.
So
depends on who the white belt is. He surely wasn't nice to me when I was a white belt.
So what I went into the roll with, like, I've only rolled with him like twice. Other than that, I've drilled with him a bunch of times.
He's great to drill with.
Every time I see him, I'm like, show me a Darce. Like, anything about the Darce, show me the Darce.
His half guard's super nasty, too.
He showed me, I literally, just fucking at Open Mat Sunday, he showed me, not showed me, but, like, as I was talking to a blue belt about the South-North choke, I was like, Niko's going to show me that shit, bro.
Yeah.
Niko's going to show me that shit.
I love the North-South choke.
So I was talking about that, and I was like, I can't wait till he shows me that shit, blah, blah, blah. And then I hear Xavier go, yo, because I was like, he goes, how you do that? And I was like, I can't really explain it right now. Like, I don't really know. Like, I haven't been shown yet.
Yeah.
And Xavier goes, yo, Anthony's doing it right now.
Yeah.
And he was literally about to finish it, dude.
Anthony's very good at the North-South choke. If you notice, if you look at Anthony's game and you watch my game together,
they're similar.
It's super funny. They're similar, but they don't look similar.
Right.
If you don't know jiu-jitsu, you'd be like, these guys are polar opposites. But if you watch the jiu-jitsu, it's the fucking same jiu-jitsu, except he plays front headlock and I don't. That's the only difference. He loves to play that front headlock with the darts. I'm not a choker guy. I'm a smasher.
Yeah.
But our half
you like to get on top and just bury the person into the mats.
Yeah. I try to imagine them, whatever part of my body I'm using to put pressure on you, I try to imagine putting it on the mat through you.
Yeah.
So if I'm in Neon
Which is
belly,
fucking brutal. I'll say from experience.
I try to put the point of my knee on the mat through your body. And I imagine in my head, this might be silly, but I imagine in my head literally pushing it through your organs into your through to the other side.
Yep.
Like I imagine that in my head when I'm doing it.
Yep.
When I settle in, I think about I'm going to push this knee to the mat through you. Or when I'm in side control, right, I try to feel like my ribs are going to flatten your ribs out. Right, I try to use my rib cage to flatten your ribs out. So it's like, like I want you to feel suffocated by my pressure so that you allow me to do bad shit to you. Yeah.
It's so funny when you put it that way.
That's what it is, though.
So when you allow me to do bad shit to you, it's like you're literally baiting them with pressure to give you an option.
Like particularly my arm bar from Neon Belly. Like it's just a reaction thing. If
right.
you choose not to react to my Neon Belly, I'll never get your arm bar.
Right.
But as soon as you go, I'm taking that fucking thing home.
Which is why it's important to put the pain on them. Like you gotta put a little bit of that pressure.
Like I know in real life, if I put my knee on somebody's chest like that, they're going to immediately shoot their arm out. And
to try to relieve the pressure.
And I can rip it fucking off.
Right. Because it's
that's
straight.
Super basic jiu-jitsu, you could do it. Like if you put the pressure on them and they suck their arm out, you'll take that fucking arm home.
Can you finish that? Like
easy, all the time.
No, I mean not, well I know, but...
Well, no, from the Neon Belly.
Can you finish that
with
by throwing that leg over the head and keeping the Neon Belly and just going back?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. I like to go forward though. Finish it to the front.
What the fuck? Really?
Hip end.
Really?
So I take it forward. I turn you face down. Right. Put my head
that's
on the mat,
brutal.
And then I use my hips going down into the mat, and I hold your arm to my chest and try to break it that way.
Yeah, I'm not even gonna tap. I'm gonna cry.
Yeah, when you go backwards, right, you have a lot of swing. So the guy, if somebody like me, if you do that to me, I'm gonna roll with you.
Yeah.
Kevin Bork gonna roll with you.
Right.
Guys that are really stout and strong will roll up with you, yank that arm out, and smash.
Right.
When you go forward, it's much harder.
That's fucking
so
crazy. I
think
never think
the belly,
about that.
Right? And then if I want to be a real nasty motherfucker, instead of looping the leg over, I'll drive my knee across your face, like shave the face to the mat and smash your face into the mat. And then the arm bar is there because your neck's getting cranked this way and your body's getting cranked this way. And the arm's just like way extended out.
It might have been you that showed me that. That's been the two things that have been helping me with my armbar is shaving the face, because I used to fucking swing the leg out and it's garbage because immediately they see it coming.
You can put the leg over, but you have to just put it over technically.
Yeah.
Like you have to pop it over. Like when you swing that big leg, they're gonna reach out, escape the armbar. But
and they have a chance, if they're bigger, they have a chance to roll.
Yeah. So I learned it. I can't really take credit for it. Justin Marcotte.
You know I fucking love training with Justin.
So Justin
I was just gonna bring him up. I swear to God.
That showed me how to do armbar from that way. He was doing it. Now he was showing it to me from S mount, which is cool. But I know that almost anything I can do from S mount. This might be wrong at high levels, but for me at least, anything I can do from S mount, I can kind of do from Neon Belly.
So when you go for that S mount armbar, I'm pretty sure it was Justin. I think it was Justin that showed me this. You grab both arms. You don't just grab one. Because they're gonna fucking do this anyway. They're gonna gable grip or they're gonna fucking Pledge of Allegiance.
Squeezing together though is a move.
Yeah.
For sure. But the thing is, as much as I like knee on belly, it depends on the level of the guy I'm going with. If it's a white belt, I'm gonna keep that knee there.
Right.
Because I know they're gonna.
It's gonna get uncomfortable.
But higher level, but you lose some level of control with the knee on belly versus mount to S mount.
Okay.
Right. Of course, knee on belly is good, but it's not nearly as controlling as mount.
As mount, right.
Right. So if I'm going with a higher level guy, I will oftentimes start with the knee on belly and then transition to S mount.
Okay.
Right, and then from S mount, you can attack the arms. You can go bow and arrow.
Because they're trying to turn from you when they have that knee on belly, and it gives you a perfect opportunity to hit that S mount.
Yeah, and I mean, either way they turn when you go knee on belly, you can make it advantageous to you.
Yeah.
Right, if they turn into you, you slide over to mount.
Yep.
If they turn away from you, you can take the arm, or you can start to take the back.
Right.
So I use knee on. I feel like it's an underutilized position, knee on belly. Because people they think about it as just a transitionary moment between side control and mount, which I can understand, but if you can put people to the rack with it, why not? I put people, relatively high-level black belts, on the rack with me. Like Anthony, who's a tough motherfucker.
Yeah.
I'll tell you
no
what,
joke.
by the end of 6, if I'm on top of him for the round, at the end he's like, oh man, what the fuck? Now, can he come up and beat shit out of me if he wants to? For
yes.
Sure. For sure. You know, I don't deny that. But I always assume jiu-jitsu is it's a combat sport. Right? Some people forget that. You know? So
You're trying to be nice to your buddy.
I'm not. Because I feel
and I'm learning that slowly. Like, you don't necessarily have to be kind to them while you're rolling.
I feel like I'm doing you a disservice by being...
Because you're not learning.
Now, if you're like somebody like you, for example, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's 155 pounds or whatever. Am I going to give you 100% pressure?
No.
Because then you
don't need to.
You're not going to learn anything, right? Is that if I decide to just smash, you're too small.
Right.
Even and your jiu-jitsu progression has been different, right? So it's all about doing it with. But I feel like, particularly with the policemen that I worked with,
that
I trained with, I fucked those dudes up. Not because I have any problem with. I love sports police.
No, I understand what you're saying.
But those criminals out there are not pulling punches.
Right.
You know what I mean?
So it's good to have them
those guys
feel 100% pressure.
I put it on them. I'll slap them sometimes just playing, but like, hey man, watch your face. Like, you know what I mean? Like Paul, Paul?
Yeah.
Big cop Paul?
Yep.
I slap the shit out of Paul sometimes just to let him know. You know what I mean? Like, hey Paul, pay attention.
I'll tell you the cops that we train with, dude, like...
I wouldn't want him to wrestle me, that's for sure, if I was out in the street.
Look at Cody.
Oh, well, Cody, can I tell you about Cody?
Fucking monster, dude.
Cody's been a monster since we were 6 years old.
Really? Oh, you've known him that long?
Long time.
No
Maybe
shit.
not 6, but very long time.
Yeah.
I moved to Salem in, say, like the 4th grade. How old are you then? Like 10, 12, something like that?
How old are you?
Me, I'm 28.
I'm 29. I'm a fucking year older than you. Yeah. I didn't realize that. Okay.
So, I started playing football with Cody maybe when we were like 9, 10. And I remember Cody made me cry so many times because he hit so fucking hard.
Yeah.
He dislocated my shoulder a couple of times. We were kids. And he would just hit so fucking hard. And then it's super funny. We weren't friends, per se. We were cool, whatever. We played football together.
It's kind of schoolmates.
Yeah, but we never really, like, hung out outside of school or anything like that. You know what I mean? But we knew each other. We sort of hung with the same people, kind of, sort of.
Yeah.
But I hadn't seen him for many years after high school. And then I started training at Henzo's, and I'm like, Cody motherfucking Sharp? You bad man. And when we were in high school, he was a wrestler, and I guess I didn't realize at the time what a good wrestler he was. But then hearing from all these people, they're like, no, Cody's a bad motherfucker.
Yeah.
And then you train with him jiu-jitsu, and it's like, does he have his purple belt now? I think he has his purple belt now. Man,
yes, he does, yeah.
He's a fucking menace to society.
Yeah.
And he's out there protecting the streets.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, he's a good guy. I say menace to society. He's not a bad guy or
no,
anything like
in the gym.
But for jiu-jitsu,
he's gnarly.
If he's looking at me for a roll, I might look the other way. I might duck him once or twice, you know? He's tough.
But also, another one of those guys that's, like, super fucking tough, but, like, super nice. Like, he'll help you with anything.
His dad's like that. His brother's like that, even though his brother's a little bit crazy. But,
fucking thing.
Like, good guys. You know what I mean? The Sharp family, I've known Cody for fucking ever.
So, when I talk to people about, like, where I grew up, it was always, like, fuck cops, fuck this, fuck that, and people out here don't necessarily understand how deep that shit goes.
No, I get it. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Understand, yeah.
I know you do.
Yeah.
But I've talked to a few fellas that are like,
I work, and it's like you understand that.
Yeah. It runs deep because like if I'm not saying that, I'm a fucking target in my neighborhood. You know what I mean? Like I'm a cop now.
Definitely.
And I'm a cop without a badge, so they can beat the shit out of me. But I try to explain to people like when I talk about my respect level for police officers nowadays, it's more like I'll bring him up and be like, yo, like the people that are out there that you don't like for whatever fucking reason you don't like cops. They might be
the coolest people.
Bro, not only that, but like he's not gonna fucking hassle you. Like he's one of these people that's like he's a legit cop.
I said something to Cody one time. I said, "How many speeding tickets did you give out last year?" I
was with you. We were having that conversation together.
I go, Cody, how many speeding tickets did you give out last year? He said 1.
Right.
1 speeding ticket. Right? And Cody's...
That was when we figured out there was no quota.
Yeah, I was wondering that, right? I was like, hey, is there a fucking quota? Do you have to meet... Because I remember hearing that. It's the end of the month, you're going to get pulled over, the cops got to make their quota. Yeah. It was a thing that was said.
We all hear it.
Right, it was the thing that was said.
Yep.
And I know in some places it's like that. For example, fuck the Keys, by the way. The Florida Keys are awesome, but fuck the Florida Keys and the way they do traffic enforcement because it's horse shit. The Florida Keys, if you're not familiar with, I hate to go on a rampage, but it's a cool one.
But
the Florida Keys is one fucking road. Okay, it's Route 1, and it does the whole fucking road. It's all of the Keys. So it starts in Miami. It starts probably before Miami, but I know I went from Miami all the way to Key West.
Yeah.
It's like 200 miles or something, whatever. It's a couple hours, right? And the whole road pretty much is like 50 miles an hour. And then they'll make little sections of it, like fucking 200 yards.
That are 30.
30.
Yeah.
And they have
oh, dude.
They have cops lined up. 4 or 5 cop cars, cruisers sitting there.
It's bink,
bink, bink, bink, just taking turns.
Yeah.
Just taking fucking turns. I was so mad. Because I was like, the funny thing about it was, I always rent the cool cars from Turo when I go on vacation because it's worth it. And I was driving like an asshole the whole time I was there because why not? You get a fun car, you're going to drive a little crazy, right?
Yeah.
And of course I get pulled over driving totally normally. Like just, dude, I thought the speed limit was
like on your asshole brake.
Yeah, I was just chilling, just going what I thought was the speed limit.
Right.
You know, I'm like, what's up? What's the problem? He's like, it's 35. I was like, it's been 55 for the last
for a fucking hour, yeah.
Like, I've been on this road for an hour and a half. It's been 55. I'm sorry. I didn't know. You know what I mean? Have a nice day. Gives me a $200 ticket or something like that.
Jesus.
I'm like, fuck, dude. Doesn't even say anything to me. No.
Here you go. Pay for another rental
car. Whatever. Get the fuck out of here.
Damn, dude.
It was like... So, but the other thing that I've been getting involved in, not so much the past couple of months, I've been dealing with a hand injury, was the rock climbing.
Yeah.
That's super interesting. You know, that's a whole other, like, world of things.
You, Frank, and Ty
they're way better at rock climbing than I am.
Yeah. Give yourself some credit.
No, I'm no good at it. Rock climbing's totally not my thing. I do, like, V0, V1 is the level of climbing that I'll do. Frank does, like, V4, V5, Ty, too. They're very athletic.
Yeah, but Frank and Ty are both, like, one muscle of a human being.
Yeah.
You know?
For sure. They're super strong. I'm not built for climbing at all. I like doing it, but when I go into place, I'm like the biggest guy by like 100 pounds. Everybody's like your size, or you know, I mean, Frank's probably about 170.
Yeah.
Something like that, and very long. You know what I mean? I was actually doing it to develop some grip strength.
Yeah.
After my motorcycle accident, my left hand was just not very strong, you know, because it took so much PT to get it working and stuff. Because when you have a ORIF, they call it. When they put a plate in, they call it ORIF, open reduction internal fixation. That's
okay.
When they put a plate in you. So then you're in a thing like this for a little while, a couple weeks, right? Sitting like this. And then what you don't understand is that your joints get locked up.
It like atrophies?
Yeah. So like, at first I could do this. That's it. Like I could not even, like this far, without agonizing pain. That was as much as I could move my wrist, right? To like now I can pretty much go like flat all the way.
And you had like a bad injury.
It was pretty broken, yeah.
Yeah.
It was pretty shattered up. It was the left distal radius, so that means the radius is this bone by your thumb.
Yep.
And distal means further away from your body, so down here.
Okay.
And it basically, the head of the bone just fucking blew up. You know? I mean, I was going pretty fast. I was doing probably 45, coming around a corner. Amazon truck blocked the whole road. I went off the road, took a flying leap, like 25 or 30 feet or whatever off the bike.
tumbled a bunch. And then, yeah, it was a pretty wild accident to have only had a broken wrist.
Yeah, I mean, in the big scheme of things, but hearing that, I'm like, holy shit.
Yeah, it was kind of wild. I got up and I was like, whoa. And then the policeman that actually showed up trains with us. I forget what his fucking name is. He's kind of a doughy guy, nice guy. He's an Auburn police officer. I want to say his name's Josh. If it's not, I'm sorry, Josh. But nice guy.
Okay.
He came in, and then the EMTs that came here knew me from work, from doing drop-offs at work. And then I got to the hospital.
Fucking circle of people that you know.
Super cool,
like,
right?
What were you doing?
So then I got to the hospital, and my nurse is like a childhood friend.
Nice.
Like a kid I grew up with. She was my neighbor growing up. Her mom like drove me to school for many years. Like, you know, basically like another sister. You know what I mean? She's the nurse taking care of me. So it was pretty wild. Like I had good support all the way through. Everybody knew me. It was really cool. And then I had this awesome doctor that did my surgery, Dr. Campbell. He's retired now. Old man, white hair, you know.
But he's seen some broken wrists.
Right, everything. So he's, I think he said he's 75. He retired just very briefly after I got my surgery.
Mm-hmm.
Like he was doing my follow-ups, and he's like, I'm getting ready to be done here. I'm glad you're healing quickly.
Yeah.
So going to my 1 week appointment. Okay, everything's looking okay. You know, we're looking at 12 weeks total before you can get back to jiu-jitsu. So 3 months, whatever. And I'm like, okay.
Which feels like
forever.
Right.
So then I go back for another appointment. Okay, it's looking good. I go back for my 6 week appointment. And this was one of the funniest things I've ever experienced in my entire life. So every time you go in, they take an x-ray.
Yeah.
Right, to look at what's happening. And the doctor walks in, the x-ray's up on the computer. The nurse pulled it up for him or whatever. Maybe he pulled it up. Walks in, hands on hips. Hands on hips, goes, fuck am I good.
I love it.
He goes, fuck am I good. And I'm like, what do you mean? And he goes, well, between you and I've only seen a bone heal this fast like 3 times in 50 years of practicing.
Wow.
He goes, distal radius has never healed this fast.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He's like, you're halfway through the healing process and it's done. He goes, I can't see that it was ever broken.
That's wild.
Yeah. So, I mean, don't get me wrong. I tortured myself with PT. Tortured myself. Like I'm talking about, so they start out, you go in, and they do the exercise. And they're one of them, like you rest your arm on the edge of the table, you know, and you like pick up your elbow, and you do this with your hand. It's all different things, right?
It's like movement stuff.
Range of motion.
Yeah, yeah.
So I went, and he said, okay, do these exercises 4 times a day, 10 reps per exercise, blah, blah, blah. So I said, well, why 10? What's the logistics
Why not
behind
20?
this? Yeah, right. So he said, well, it usually is extremely painful for people, blah, blah, blah. I said, am I going to hurt it if I do more? He said, no, you won't hurt it. It's in there. Because it's screwed together. You're there.
Yeah.
So you're not going to hurt it anymore. It's just going to be agonizing.
Right.
Pain, I can deal with no problem.
I've been wrist locked.
So, right. So I was doing these exercises, say, 500 repetitions at a time, every hour on the hour.
Holy shit, dude.
Yeah. It wasn't working.
So you're like the dude in the Camaro fucking squeezing the fucking...
I wasn't working. I didn't have anything else to do. I was out of work. I couldn't do jiu-jitsu. And my fucking wrist hurt.
Yeah.
So it was like...
I just want this to get better.
Yeah. They said, heat it, and anytime you're not heating it, you can exercise it. So I would heat it for half hour and do the repetitions of all the exercise for a half hour.
What were you heating it with?
Heat pack, like your
Like
grandma
a
has on her
pad?
back or whatever. You know what I mean? And put it on for half hour, take it off, do the exercises, put it back on, and I would do this 8-10 hours a day.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And
that's
then
brutal.
And as well as that, I would go in 3 times a week to see the occupational therapist, the hand therapist.
Right, and they would do whatever they were going to do.
They would do their exercises with it. They would put me in what's called a dry whirlpool. It's pulverized corn husks blown with a air fan thing, and it's supposed to be like the best way to heat the joint, you know?
Okay.
So you stick your arm in the thing for 15 minutes, it does its thing, and then you do the exercises, you know? And the OT was like blown away. He was like, I don't know what's going on with this. He goes,
fucking Wolverine bones.
That's literally what he said. He's like, I don't ever see anybody recover. He's like, you're recovering like a pro athlete or something like that. The doctor actually had asked me, slyly, he goes, I'm not trying to get involved in your business, but are you taking anything?
Yeah.
I was like, what do you mean? He's like, you taking anything? Like HGH, steroids, whatever. He goes, because this is like, doesn't really make sense.
Yeah.
He's like, you shouldn't heal this fast. you're kind of a normal dude. You know, you haven't done anything crazy exceptional that would make you heal super fast. And I was like, no, man, I don't know. Just doing the fucking what you told me to do on a macro level.
Right.
You know, it's like, and now it's good to go. You know what I mean? It's not, you know, it's there for sure. You know, it's there. It's uncomfortable all the time.
Right.
But it doesn't hurt anymore.
Right.
You know, if I get wrist lock, it hurts like a motherfucker. But it's bigger now. So I can't wear watches, like the same watches I've had for many years and stuff that are like metal watches, you know?
Add an extra hole to
You have
it.
to add a link to them. Well, because these ones are metal, so they clip together,
Right.
you know? So you have to add like an extra link because it's like much bigger now.
That's wild.
Yeah.
But it's because you did so much fucking PT that it strengthened everything
Well, it's
around
also,
that.
there's just a big hunk of metal in there.
Oh, there's metal in it?
Yeah, there's an implant. I don't know exactly what it's made out of, but some kind of
Some titanium
hard
or
thing.
something.
You can feel it. Feel it. Like
Oh, that fuck! I didn't even notice that.
Yeah. It's a big chunk of metal. You know what I mean?
Jesus, dude.
Yeah, so it holds everything back together. So basically, the bone, they just took the broken up parts and the not broken up parts, and they put a chunk of metal in there, a prosthetic, and they use screws.
Yeah.
Or pins or something. I don't know what the fuck exactly. I'm no surgeon. I'm just a nurse. But they secure it to your bones, and it helps your bones to heal.
Yeah, I've
So
seen the X-rays of it
I
where they
wasn't
have
even in a
like
cast.
pins going in this way.
Yeah, I wasn't even in a cast. So that's a open reduction. It's a little bit different. They're like with the pins that are out of the body.
Yep.
A little bit different. These are in. You can't see them. Like it's looked like this since.
And they'll have like a plate and then pins.
There's a plate inside, yeah, and then it's like
Got
screwed
you.
to you. But it's super interesting, and the reason why, so we actually had opted to do the surgery was, he was like, well, we don't have to before, because he said we could have just let it heal, but, you know, he said, what are you going to be using this for? And I'm like, for torture. Like, this thing's going to get motherfucking used
Yep.
big and hard for many years.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So we eventually kind of came to the conclusion that, okay, we gotta, you know, screw it back together and the whole nine. And I'm doing the recovery, and I'm depressed at this point because I hadn't trained jiu-jitsu in probably a month, because before they do the thing, they have to wait for all the initial swelling to come down. So I was like 2 weeks in a cast first for them waiting. Okay, wait and see.
Which is no movement.
Yeah, nothing. You're stuck.
Yeah.
And then they take you out. They took the X-ray. Oh fuck, too bad. We're gonna have to do surgery. So they do the surgery. You know, now we're talking about like 3 weeks out, and at this point they tell me like 12 more weeks. So, and then that's for work too, because obviously at my workplace it can be somewhat violent, right? So I was out of work too. So I was like, fuck, am I going to have the vacation time? Am I going to have the whatever? The PTO?
All these extra stresses.
Yeah, you know what I mean? And then my dad passed away like 2 weeks after surgery, so it's like a lot of shit all at once, you know what I mean?
And you've got nothing, like the outlet of
no
that.
outlet, right?
I got to be honest, like when my father passed away, probably around the same time, because I remember when you came back. It wasn't too long after I got there.
Yeah.
But I just remember you talking about the accident and stuff like that, and me hearing little pieces of it. But, dude, if I didn't fucking have jiu-jitsu when that happened, I would have been a fucking wreck. Dude, the reason I started, you know why I worked there? I literally went in, and they were like, Karis and Kevin, initially, like, they asked me what was going on with payments. Yeah. And I hadn't been there in a month.
You couldn't afford it. You kind of not couldn't afford it, but you were struggling to afford to pay for it.
I ain't afraid of it. Yeah. I couldn't afford that shit.
Yeah.
But
it's not cheap if you don't have, like, a good job. Like, I'm blessed to do what I do, you know what I mean? And it's like, but if you don't have, like, a solid-ass job, it's not cheap.
Right.
So do you work there to pay for it, pretty much?
So, no, not anymore. But at the beginning, now I'm paying for it. But those two, like Kevin has given me so much fucking help, dude.
Yeah, he's a good guy.
And like, I could never thank him enough. Like, if there was something I could do, I would, but there's nothing that could add up.
No.
There's nothing, and he fucking does everything for himself. So it's like, what am I gonna do for him?
He doesn't need anything,
But when I first got there, dude, it was like, I went into the office and they were like, what's going on with your payments? Because I was initially paying cash.
Oh, yeah.
And I really just,
didn't have it.
I didn't have it, and I was going through a lot of shit. Like, literally, I think maybe 2 months before they had done that, my dad passed away, and I just wasn't fucking, I didn't realize how heavy it was.
Wasn't there for it, yeah.
Well, it was like, I started training there. I stopped for a month because of like all the funeral stuff, and he didn't have a funeral.
Yeah.
But it was like
I understand all the shit.
There was a lot of there's so much shit to fucking deal with death.
Oh yeah.
By the way, that's a fucking gambit.
Yeah.
People fucking rake cash out of people just like for fucking no reason, like just to get fucking. Dude, my dad got cremated.
Yeah.
No funeral, no wake.
Probably still a couple grand.
No, bro, yeah, and like we could not fucking afford that at that time. So it was like, still, I mean, fucking if somebody else died, I'd be like, fucking, we're burning them in the backyard.
What are you gonna do, right? It's tough, man, when you don't. And I don't know, can't speak to you. I don't know you like that, but it's tough when you don't have an education and you don't have like a career to do.
Well, that was one of the things. Is like I was working with my dad before he passed away.
Oh fuck, doing what?
Painting.
Oh, okay.
And
That's
he was
funny.
like
here's something funny?
Yeah.
My dad also was a painter.
No shit.
Yeah, professionally. Commercial and all that.
Yeah.
Very interesting job.
My dad painted for like 35 years.
So would you consider yourself a painter? Did you do that for a long time?
Yes, but I fucking hate it.
Yeah, but do you know how to do it though? Pretty good?
Yeah.
That's cool to know.
Because of him.
Yeah. It's cool though because you could do it if you really had to. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
Because that's where I'm at with my job right now. Is that like it's fine. I don't mind it, but I don't love it. I do it because I can, and it's the skill that I have, and it allows me to not work very much and make enough money to do what I want.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't love it.
Right.
You know what I mean? I'd like to be doing not that. You know what I mean? It's not fun to get screamed at all the time for a job.
Nope.
You know what I mean? And it would be cool to have a job where somebody wasn't trying to take your head off every other day.
Right.
But, it works. But it's really challenging for people out there, like yourself, that don't have... Like, I can go anywhere with my licensure.
Right.
You know what I mean?
You have credentials.
Yeah.
And you've got experience.
And my experience
is
so big that I could go just about anywhere in the country and they would probably hire me basically to do exactly what I do.
Right.
They would probably basically hire me sight unseen.
It's almost like a police officer where you can just fucking go anywhere you want. And
better.
You've been a cop.
Way better.
Better because you've got the education behind you.
Way better because I have the education behind me. I have the experience behind me. And being a male in the field that I work in is like...
There's a lot of females that get involved in it.
A lot of females, and not to be sexist, but I'm bigger, I'm stronger. When somebody gets violent and aggressive, who do you think they call?
Niko.
Yeah, you know what I mean? And Rashawn, too. You know Rashawn? Black dude with dreads.
Bro, he works with you?
Yeah. He
no
started
shit.
Not too long ago, yeah.
I'm good friends with him.
Yeah, Rashawn's a good guy. I like Rashawn.
I love that guy, man.
He's very smart. He's like a day trader, I think. He like does like stocks.
I literally
and stuff like
fucking go to him with every question I have.
He's
I fucking love
cool.
that guy.
Super cool guy. We play a very similar jiu-jitsu game too, with our half guard and the lockdown and all
Yeah.
that. I love that half guard.
Dude, I could show you fucking like we literally
List of
just
questions and stuff. Yeah.
literally fucking every day, like texting
Yeah.
each other about fucking like just throwing each other
He's
techniques.
Yeah.
We have a library of techniques that neither one of us have touched yet.
Yeah.
And we're like fucking, we gotta go back to that. We gotta go back to that.
Yeah.
He helps me big.
He's a very intriguing guy, very charming guy. People like him.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He has that gift of like people like him. You know, and his jiu-jitsu's really good. He works with me at the pavilion. He's a like an aide, like a behavioral health assistant they call it. And he's a stud. The guy's great. But it allows me in my field, and I'm not even just a nurse that does it, so I teach like crisis prevention, nonviolent intervention. You know, I'm the hospital supervisor at times, so I'll run the whole goddamn place. You know, 75 patients, 3 units. I'm in charge of the whole thing. Not all the time, that's not my regular job.
That sentence scares me.
But it's something that I do, like this past weekend, I basically just did that for the whole weekend, you know. So
it's a lot of responsibility.
It is a ton of responsibility, but having all that responsibility and experience allows me to have a fuck you mentality.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? Like my job pretty much, like I'm going to be gone for the entire month of July, and I was just like, guess what? I'm not going to be here.
I'm out.
And that was that. It wasn't like a whole conversation. It was just like, I'm not, they were initially like, oh, you don't really have the vacation time? And I was like, I don't give a fuck. I'm not,
I'm
what
going.
part of, from July 1st till August 1st, I'm not the fuck going to be here.
Right.
And they're like, all right. Because it takes too long to create another me. Do you know what I mean? You have to train them in all the different things.
They need that experience in that place.
Experience. Do you know what I mean? It's like...
And all the places are going to be a little bit different.
I mean, places... I literally get emails for... oh my gosh. Recruiting emails.
Yeah.
From like every psychiatric hospital locally. All of them. All of them. You want to come work here? You want to come work here? You want to come work here? Whatever. You know what I mean? It's crazy, the demand for male psychiatric nurses.
Right.
You know, and it's like so funny because the job really, if you're of the right mindset, the job's super easy. You know what I mean? Like I'm talkative and outgoing and stuff, but I'm mostly a pretty laid back guy.
Yeah.
So it's like not hard for me. Like people yell and cuss and scream and whatever, and I'm like, yeah, whatever. I don't really give a fuck. It doesn't. Not that I don't give a fuck. I care. I want people to get better and all that, but like, it doesn't bother me.
You're not gonna mind if somebody's like, "Hey, fuck you" today.
No,
like tomorrow, you know that guy's gonna be fucking different.
Yeah. Or he won't.
Or
be.
he won't
That's
be.
fine too.
You gotta have thick skin for that stuff.
You have to. Yeah, you have to have super thick skin, or you have to just not give a fuck about it. That's the real trick. Is that I just don't. I care about the patients. I want them to get better.
You leave it at work.
Yeah, I don't give a shit. When I leave, I'm just gonna go home, have a good time, do jiu-jitsu, drink some beers, enjoy life.
What would it be like if you didn't have that jiu-jitsu?
Yeah, not good probably.
That's what I'm thinking, man.
Yeah.
Like, 'cause it's fucking, dude. Jiu-jitsu has just made me so fucking better at dealing with people.
It also helps me because I'm not afraid. Like a lot of, and I don't mean that in like a cocky way.
No,
but
I know what you mean.
A lot of the nurses that I work with, for good reason, are actually afraid if somebody tries to get aggressive with them.
Right.
Because they might actually get fucked up. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But
Especially being that a lot of these people are women, smaller.
Right, small, petite gals that don't know what they're doing.
Right.
And then you have a guy, big, scary dude, screaming and yelling in their face, I'm going to fucking beat you up, I'm going to kick your ass.
And you're like,
and, I mean, they're afraid for good reason. But when you're afraid, how do you react? And how do you interact with people? What do you think?
I mean,
if you're feeling afraid or you're feeling nervous or scared, are your interactions going to be as pure, as clear, or as concise or correct as they would be if you're just chill as fuck?
So I can give you a great example that happened yesterday. There's cops everywhere around the fucking gas station right down from our gym.
Mm-hmm.
And they're blocking off the street that I usually take, like the fucking, you know how you like,
I understand.
There's 5 ways to go home.
I know exactly.
But you
how
know
you're
one.
from you, though, yeah.
So I had to turn around in the gas station and, you know, turn on the GPS and figure out my way home. I was like, whatever, this is fucking just, it is what it is. Something happened. I don't know what it is. It could be fucking a giant situation. Could be small, but I'm not going to fucking care. I got behind somebody and I accidentally rolled into their car. So this big fucking dude gets out of his car.
Yeah.
And I just got done training with Anthony. I just got done training, like fucking, I got rolled over by Tom.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I'm like,
this guy ain't shit.
I'm
but
like,
it
alright, cool.
It allows you to be so much more cool.
But he got out and the demeanor switched.
Yeah.
The second I fucking, like, my window was wide open.
Yeah.
I was like, air and opportunity, brother. Like, what's up? And I'm not trying to be tough or nothing.
No, I know what you mean.
But I was like, hey, I'm sorry, brother. I didn't hit it hard.
Yeah, it's a mistake. It happens, whatever.
And
but
he
was
literally,
screaming and
he
cussing,
looked at
whatever.
me like he wanted to be pissed and then just fucking turned around and got right back in his car. No words, no nothing. And then he started screaming at the guy in front of him. And I was like, well...
He's just having a bad day.
Yeah. He almost hit a cop on his way out of the fucking gas station.
He's having a bad day. Shit happens.
Yeah.
But it allows me to be so chill.
It's that calmness. I think sometimes that saves you in an aggressive situation because those aggressive people, they get away with it with people
and they don't know how to react to it.
Well, they'll get away with it with somebody that's going to be like, oh no, please don't. And you're just like, bro, stop.
Yeah, I have it all the time, especially when, and I don't want to slight addicts or anything like that. I love taking care of addicts. It's something that I actually don't mind doing. However, there's a population of addicts that are just fucking horrific.
Yeah.
And just want to fight and want to be assholes or whatever, but they have no idea how to react. They're like, I'm going to fucking knock your head in, and you just go, all right.
Cool.
And it's like they immediately don't know how to react to it, and a lot of times it calms them down. And it's like, to me, I'm a do whatever it takes kind of guy. When it comes to, like, not my last goal when it comes to dealing with psychiatric patients is to have to put my hands on them.
Right.
That's like the last thing I want to do. Because it's traumatic to these people, right? They're going to feel bad about it. I'm going to feel bad about it. I'm not going to be able to take care of you very well after I just had to tackle you, drag you down the hall, stick a needle in your ass and sedate you because you were trying to... Right, so I'm not going to be able to...
They're going to remember that.
They're going to remember that next time. And sometimes they're cool and they understand it, but sometimes they're like, fuck that guy, he's an asshole. It's like, well...
And now they don't want to work with you forever.
Right, and now,
On the less personal side, it's like, nothing for nothing. It's almost definitely going to affect your job in some way. You know, if that happens.
Well, it happens all the time.
Well, it must. You know, with you can't.
So there are like stuff. There is like stuff in place about it,
Yeah.
so that we can do it in like a safe way that's not, you know, going to harm people, and you know, it's not like I teach a class. I haven't taught in a little while, but it's called like nonviolent crisis intervention.
Mm-hmm.
So it goes over first is like de-escalation, communication skills, how to interact with people. So I teach people like how to talk to people in a way that will help to de-escalate their feelings or emotion, right? Because at the end of the day, the last thing I want to have to do is restrain you and medicate you and all that. I want you to just feel better, right? At the end of the day, I'm a nurse.
That's what you're there
right?
for.
At the end of the day, I'm a nurse. I want to help and make you feel better, right? So, but jiu-jitsu has allowed me to be super calm under pressure. It's like you can scream and yell and cuss and throw shit at me, and I'm like, whatever.
I just had a 300-pound dude on me this morning. Fucking, you ain't bothering me.
Yeah, right. You know what I mean? Like, I just had Tom trying to rip my head off.
Right.
Like, do you think you're going to bother me?
Yeah.
So it allows me to be, and it's super funny because all the patients like, oh, Niko, he's great, he's awesome, blah, blah, blah. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I get great ratings from the patients. Like, patients like me. But you have to be able to sort of set the line, because sometimes people can get really abusive and, you know, hurting staff, and, you know what I mean? We've had a lot of people get really injured. A few nurses that had got traumatic brain injuries. Or just over the years, you know what I mean? You know, women, men too. Men and women have their nose broken and black eyes and, you know, broken fingers and all sorts of shit.
People that may not be aware of keeping a distance and...
Yeah, a lot of times, you know. So it can be really challenging to sort of interact in such a way when people are not so well trained in how to interact with people. And that's something I go over, body language.
Yeah.
And distance and where you're safe.
Know when somebody fucking cocks their foot back.
Yeah, right.
They're about to hit you.
Somebody clench their fist, they're going to try to hit you. Know where to move and how to get help to come and help you, you know. But the thing is, and another thing is, everybody's built differently, and I'm a crisis machine.
Yeah.
I don't do well in day-to-day whatever. Like, it's so hard for me to just do laundry and get laundry done. I know that sounds stupid as fuck, but like mundane shit wrecks me. I'll fucking stare at that laundry for 2 months, right? But in a crisis, I'm like Superman.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? In any kind of crisis.
You like actionable
I just do.
things.
It's not that I like it. It's just my brain decides to begin working when shit hits the fan.
That's
You know what I
fucking.
mean?
That's a really interesting way to put it, though.
It is, though. Like, it was so funny when I got in that motorcycle accident. It was like everybody else was freaking out, and I was just like,
it's a broken wrist.
I was like, I think
so
I'm alright.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And like the EMTs are freaking out, and the Amazon drivers, all these people like freaking out, and I'm like,
no, I'm fine.
And you're
like,
still like telling everybody
I'm
like, it's
I'm
gonna
like,
be
guys,
fine.
I think I'm alright. Like, call an ambulance for sure. The bike, I can't ride the bike.
For sure.
Call an ambulance. I need to get out of here. But like,
but I'm okay. I'm not gonna die.
Like, relax. You know, everything's gonna be fine. We're good. And you know, I called my wife, and she laughs about this all the time. Because I was super, like, nonchalant. I called her, I was like, hey, how you doing? Blah, blah, blah. You know, she was in Boston with my mom. They were hanging out or whatever. And I was like, yo, how's your day going? Blah, blah, blah. I'm like, just so you know, I crashed my motorcycle.
Yeah.
I'm okay. And I'm on my way to the hospital. You know.
Just letting her know you're going to be a little late.
And she's freaking the fuck out. Do you know what I mean? But she laughed so hard about it because I was just like, you know, hey, what's going on? Blah, blah, blah. You know, so it's like that field works for me because that's the only time that I perform well.
Right. You're good at being calm in crazy situations.
Yeah, that's it, though. When it comes to regular...
Even in your own crisis.
Yeah. But when it comes to mundane shit, it's like pulling teeth.
Boring.
Anything that doesn't interest me. It's like, I got diagnosed with severe ADHD when I was a kid. I took Ritalin for like 20 years.
Fucking same shit.
You know what I mean? I quit taking them a couple of years ago, year and a half ago or whatever. I'm a hugely different human being. But so, my brain works on shit that I like.
Yeah.
I know that probably sounds silly, and people who
don't understand. Nope, it doesn't. I completely get it.
People who don't understand it can't understand it because they're not there. But mundane shit wrecks me.
Why do you think I do this and the guitar shit?
Yeah,
and
washing
like,
dishes,
jiu-jitsu?
whatever. You know, music is so good. I was actually going to ask you about music because I love music, and I know you're a music guy too.
Yep.
I've watched some of your stuff playing guitars and shit like that. Super interesting. I played the guitar for a little while. I'm not very good at it, but it's very interesting. And I was going to ask you, what piqued your interest in music?
I would
Or
definitely say my dad.
Okay.
Because my dad was like fucking the dude that was like, he would give us $1 back in the day, like when we were little kids, like so we would see him like on the weekends and whatnot.
Divorced dad stuff.
Yeah, not even divorced, just split.
Oh, okay. Whatever, you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Separated dad shit.
Yeah. You know,
I understand.
But it's
Yeah,
like
I get it.
we would see him and it would be like fucking like this thing where like he was super into music, like Beatles, Bee Gees, fucking like all over the place, down to like Metallica and like he went from fucking Bee Gees to Metallica.
I do that. I do that. I'm very.
And I know
cool
you
with
do
that,
because I've heard you fucking pull up listening to some crazy shit, and I'm like, is that?
I do like some.
We've had a little conversation on this.
Yeah, so that's why I was going to ask you about music.
So the thing that got me like really stuck on it, like I always loved music, but like the thing that I think seeing Kiss as
I heard you talking about.
Yeah, like the first thing that got me was Kiss. And being that my dad was a child of the 60s and 70s, right. He saw that I was gravitating toward Kiss. Like, it was like a fucking costume magazine.
Yeah, no, I understand.
It was like one of those, like, mail flyers that you get from fucking Halloween Central or whatever the fuck, whatever store it was. And it had Gene Simmons masks and Paul Stanley masks, Ace Frehley masks, and Peter Criss masks. And I was like, what is this? Like, what is that? And my dad was like, that's Kiss. Like, what is? Why are you interested in that? So it went from Kiss to like Alice Cooper.
Yep.
To like.
You were probably like 3 or 4.
Yeah, like 3 years old.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And how
like,
old are you?
29.
20. So you.
That's my twin.
Oh, your twin.
Yeah.
That's cool. I didn't know you had a twin. I have twin sisters. I'm not a twin.
Brad.
You know, my sisters are twins.
That's crazy.
I didn't realize you guys were twins. You looked about close to the same age. But
he's a lot prettier than me, but.
Well, he's interesting for sure.
I call him a punk rock fishing lure.
He kind of looks like a punk rock fishing lure. That's all right, though. You're at the right place for a fishing lure. Yeah.
He's catching all the Pabst Blue Ribbon.
I wanted to ask you. I love Pabst. And I wanted to ask you what kind of music you were most interested in. What's your thing?
Bro, like
genre.
I can't because gun to my head.
You have to throw out all the rest of the music, and I'll ask your brother here, whose name I forget. I'm sorry.
Fuck.
What's your name again?
Jesse.
Jesse.
Yeah.
I can't do that. Like gun to my head. Just shoot me.
All right. How about you? Or pick a band.
Pick a band?
Has to be one band.
That's an even tighter.
It's an even tighter question.
Yeah, I know. I'm like Tool, Megadeth, fucking.
So metal.
Beatles.
Yeah. Okay.
No, but not. It's like everything. Like I hear certain Bee Gees songs.
Yeah.
I hear certain fucking like this guy knows like.
You seem like you're into punk rock.
No, you would be fucking shocked, bro. You'll hear this motherfucker listening to Diana Ross in his room.
I fuck with Diana Ross. I have mad Diana Ross vinyl.
Bro, we're like music.
Do you get into vinyl?
Oh, I got a bunch.
He's got loads of it.
Do you like 45s? Do you have any 45s?
I believe I have a
You have a couple.
So I have some Diana Ross 45s that are super
little,
cool.
like 2 songs.
They're one song aside,
Yeah.
I've been recently getting into collecting vinyl, which is so cool to me because I love music, period, end of story. You've seen this. I listen to a fucking...
I'll bring up my box of stuff before you go.
Yeah.
For sure, I'll take a look. I love looking at vinyl.
And it's all old. His girlfriend's mom gave it to him.
Super old. Yeah, so I'm like a dollar bin guy. I like going in the dollar bins and sifting through, but I just love music. Anybody who's talented to me in any kind of way, shape, or form. Like the other day, I was listening to like Mama Cass and Barry Manilow.
Fuck yeah, dude.
You know, and I was like...
That's where I was like, what are you... I almost thought it was the Kinks because of the melody of it. I was like, are you fucking listening to the Kinks? And he goes, no, when do you hear this? Like...
Yeah, so it's like, I get into all the... Like, my favorite artist of all time, believe it or not, is John Denver.
Oh,
you know John Denver?
Yeah.
But people love John Denver for like Rocky Mountain. I love fucking all... Like, I can probably sing 95% of that discography.
All right, so if that's the criteria, like I can
Not
fucking recite his music, what would you say is my go-to? Because like I have a fucking hard time with that.
With John Denver?
Yeah, like if his
no,
is John
no.
Denver because he can recite those fucking like he
Yeah,
loves
know all
it.
the songs so much. Yeah.
What would you say? Because I have a hard time figuring it out myself. He would probably say Megadeth or Tool. But like also
like the band that you're like a fucking super nerd for.
Yeah.
Is what, like what?
Yeah.
All right. For you, that would probably be.
It's hard, isn't it?
It
It is,
dude.
yeah. Cause
How
like,
about you?
It's also because I've known him my entire life, so that I'm
But I almost feel like you know better than me.
Right now, it would be Tool, but 10 years ago, he wasn't as into that shit. It would be something completely different.
But these days, you'd say it's Tool.
Yeah.
I can listen to Tool. It's definitely not something that I like go out of my way to look for.
Yeah.
But I like Tool.
But as a guitar player, I'm like fucking Megadeth, Pantera, Slayer,
Yeah.
fucking like Metallica. Those are my like things. And then it's like lyrically, I'm pushing toward Tool. I'm pushing toward like even bands like fucking CKY and shit. Like
you know what I've been getting into lately, big time, which is super funny, is the Talking Heads. You ever fucking Talking Heads?
Smart as shit.
So I've been getting way into the Talking Heads lately. My friend Jack, who I told you about, he trains with us, and I've been friends with Jack for like 15 years. Jack's the music guy. His dad's the music guy. He is now the music guy. Whenever I need something new to listen to, it's Yo Jack.
Yeah.
What am I listening to? Right? So Jack's playing this Talking Heads song, This Must Be the Place.
Yep.
Right? You know, it's like dun-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun. So it's almost instrumental the whole time, right? And I remember being like, fucking shut this dog shit off. Like, we were sitting at his house drinking
That's how
beers
it
or
always
whatever.
starts.
And I was like, shut that fucking dog shit off. I don't want to listen to it. And he's like, all right, whatever, and he changes it. And then he plays it again, and I'm like, fucking shut that
Is
shit
that the
off.
This
I don't
Is
wanna
Not
listen
My
to it.
Beautiful Wife song?
No, that's
Is that the Cause?
No, I'll tell you what song that is right now.
That is the Talking Heads, right?
It is definitely the Talking Heads, but it's not. Once in a Lifetime.
Yes.
In a beautiful house. With
My
a beautiful
father got
wife.
me into that.
And you may ask yourself,
Yeah.
how did I get here?
Yep.
Right? Yeah. So, it's that band.
Yep.
Different song. This Must Be the Place. Really good song.
They're fucking intelligent.
Super good band. David Byrne's a crazy autistic dude, the lead singer. Wild man. If you ever have a chance, and this summer you could possibly have a chance if you wanted to. They did a live album in 1986, I want to say. I'm not a perfect historian. 1986 called Stop Making Sense. It was a live album. It was fucking bananas.
Yeah.
Okay, and they put it out on like cassette or whatever the fuck it was back
In
then.
the days of Cheap Trick doing fucking Budokan.
Right. Yes. So they put out like a VHS. Right. But the thing was, it was such a long concert, the vinyl was single record, so it missed a lot of the songs from the concert.
Yep.
It was like the first half of the concert, which frankly was the worst half. Was the less good half to my ears.
Yep.
So this summer in August, they're re-releasing it to theaters. The Stop Making Sense.
I would absolutely go see
So I'm
that.
definitely going to go see it. And I already pre-ordered the vinyl, so they have a new reissue 2 discs with all the songs.
Fuck yeah.
Oh, is it going to be like a double vinyl?
2 discs. Yeah, 2 vinyl discs, right.
Pretty
So it's like $45 or something like that, but I don't give a fuck. I ordered
It's also
it.
going to be about 45 songs.
Yeah, so it'll be good. And but I've been getting way into the Talking Heads. Oingo Boingo. I don't know if you've ever heard of that band.
I know Boingo, yeah.
But I also love some punk rock. Like I definitely love the Clash.
Yep.
You ever fuck with the Clash?
That was one of the first fucking things I bought on my own accord.
Right, or like the Ramones. Who doesn't want to listen to the Ramones?
Yep.
You know.
He could fucking show you some punk.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you know what I mean?
That's what most of my vinyl stuff is. Well, I can't say most anymore, but like...
Yeah, I get you have a lot of it, right?
Yeah.
So I just think that I find it so funny when people are like, "Oh, I like rock" or "I like rap," and that's it. You know what I mean? I can never understand that.
No.
I love music.
Yeah.
Bro, I went from
All of it.
I went from fucking playing guitar. I tried to play drums, sucked at it. He was way better.
You know how to play the drums? You a drum guy?
I fucking
my
went.
old drums got stolen though.
That's cool.
I was like,
oh, if you get stolen, that sucks. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was like, fuck that. I started playing guitar. Well, I was playing guitar before that, but like dove deep into guitar because I was like, I don't think any other instrument is gonna click with me. And then like I think that the thing that really drove us into music was like we always had this like weird taste. By the time my mother met her ex-husband, it was
Who
like
was the guy you did the other podcast with? Yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
Now, if you listen to some of that, it was like I know I talked about kissing and stuff like that, but like he's the first dude that like I got in his truck the first time I met him. Maybe not the first time I met him. First time we went out as like a unit.
Yeah.
And he was playing fucking Slayer, Ditto Head.
Yeah.
And I was like, this is the baddest ass motherfucker I've ever met in my life. He's also a Marine.
That's cool.
So it was like fucking like this dude's so bad. Like
you're a very talented guitar player though. I've watched.
Thank you very much.
I think you're super interesting. You have you have a good creative streak to you. That was the thing I found with playing the guitar. I did it for maybe 1.5 years to 2 years. I played the guitar. Like I've learned and stuff like that. But I just didn't. I could do whatever you told me to.
Yep.
I was very good at. You tell me to put my hand here, I can put my hand here. I can mechanically
like
make it happen.
instructions.
Right? Yeah, but I do not have one iota of creative anything.
But I think that comes with.
I don't think anybody does.
No, I don't
think a lot
either.
of people
Like
do.
when you think about it, so a lot of the stuff that I play that you've seen is other people's shit.
Yeah, but it's done in a individualized way.
That's because I can't pull it off.
Well, that's
I know
okay.
it looks cool.
Yeah, but it's okay though because the end product is really cool. Though.
Thank you very much, because like a lot of the time I really do feel like, oh, that was trash.
No,
like,
I think the end product's really cool because it's yours and it's individualized. I don't find I feel like anybody can learn, put your fingers here, put your fingers here, put your fingers here, move your hand like this. Anybody can do that.
Yeah.
You can teach any monkey how to just, go through the chords, especially for like country music. Like you can teach any idiot how to play like Old Crow Medicine Show, like Wagon Wheel. Like it's like C, D, E minor, G over and over and over again for 3 hours. Like you can teach anybody that. You know what I mean? But the ability to have and people do, whether you believe it or not, I think some people do have a creative thing going on. Like,
I believe in that. I
have a friend, Nick, who has a band called Suspension of Graces.
Mm-hmm.
It's, I don't know, maybe it's metal. They scream at the microphone and fucking, it sounds horrific. It gives me a migraine headache. I love Nick. He's one of my favorite people in the world, literally. But his band makes me want to commit suicide. He screams at the microphone, and it's just, you might like it if you're into that shit.
Yeah. But
it's not for me. And I support his band. I wear the merch.
I've literally heard you talk about them in class.
And I go to the shows, and it's cool. But I fucking hate it. I wear earplugs and shit because I don't want to listen to it. I fucking don't like it. But this guy is so fucking creative.
Yeah.
Like, I'm talking about, he would work at the hospital with me as like a BHA, as an aide or whatever. He'd be sitting on a 1-to-1, which is like it's a 1-to-1 observation for somebody who, sometimes it's because they're aggressive, sometimes it's because they're suicidal and they want to kill themselves or whatever. But you're just sitting there staring at them. And a lot of times they're just fucking sleeping.
Yeah.
But you got to just sit there and fucking watch them. So Nick would be like, give me a paper, whatever, and he'd start drawing shit. And he would draw this, he's really into fantasy type shit. This crazy, outrageous, I'll pull him up on Instagram.
It sounds like me and him in school.
Yeah, I hear you, but
specifically him. You should see some of this. He's a tattoo artist.
I'm talking about, really? Actually?
He's fucking nasty.
Do you want to tattoo me?
I can't right now.
He doesn't have equipment.
He doesn't have what?
Equipment.
We'll get some equipment.
Yeah, I'm working through it.
I love semi-bad tattoos.
Well, that's what you're gonna get. No,
no, it's okay.
I'll be right back. While you looking at it up?
Yes, I'm gonna pull it up for you, and I'll show your brother here.
I'll bring up some art with the.
I love art. I love all kinds of art. Good art, bad art, anything that somebody considers art, I'm super interested in.
So. When you said, I wasn't trying to be
like
the, the argumentative bastard when I was like, I don't think that creativity really is
it's cool, yeah.
So check this out. As somebody that is, I play music, I draw, I do all that fun stuff.
So you have a creative bone. To some extent.
I don't think so.
Yeah.
And this is why I have my point of view on that, is that I've been drawing for my whole life. When I say that, I've definitely like 100% most of my life every day has been spent drawing at least something.
That's cool.
The weird thing about that though is that when you're doing something for that long, there's stagnation periods where
for
even
sure.
if you're drawing, you're not doing anything to better your
I think the interesting thing though with people who have that creative sort of thing is that, I don't know if you are able, but I can tell you, for example, my friend Nick is able to pull a thought out of his mind and put it on a paper.
Yeah. And I can definitely do that, but this is where it gets tricky, is that I think it's mostly preparation.
Are we going to be able to hear him, sort of?
I hope so.
Okay, cool.
I feel like to some degree that is mostly preparation because
For sure.
But does that take away from the creativity
I don't think it does.
part? Because I do agree that creativity does exist. It is a thing. But it took me 20 years to get creative, so to speak.
Yeah.
So
you got to get skilled before you become creative.
You totally have to get skilled before you are able to utilize your creativity to do something with it.
For
but
sure.
some people just have a fucking... I just don't... I'm a very, type A, I'm a nurse for a living. That can tell you right off the bat kind of the sort of person that I am. You know what I mean? I'm very, type A, things are how they are. I don't have a very imaginative or creative thought process.
And I would say me and him are exactly the opposite.
Very creative, right? Things are whimsical and playful, and you can do things in such a way.
I wouldn't say playful, but I would say...
it's playful in your way, though. Whether it seems playful to other people or not. But what I mean by playful is it's interesting, it's intriguing, it changes all the time.
It can be, almost borderline torturous, because my fucking brain won't stop.
For sure, 100%.
You know what I mean?
And you mentioned having severe ADHD.
Yeah.
So
That's
we both
a
have
big
that
part.
Too, but we're on different sides of
Different sides
the
of the
mental
spectrum,
Right.
Yeah. See, I figured out a way when I was really young, not really young, but relatively young, say in my teenage years, late teens, early 20s, how to leverage it in a positive way. And not that you didn't leverage it, but I leveraged it in a way that worked for me.
Mm-hmm.
So I was able to sort of hyperfixate on some things that I had to do in order to set myself up. This was the goal right along. It's I don't know how much Dylan sold you about me or whatever, but I work 2 days a week now. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Essentially I'll do 4 16-hour shifts, and I get 10 days off. Right, so it's
sweet.
out of this world.
It's sweet, but it's it's a lot of
grueling,
hours.
and then it's sweet.
A amount of time.
Yeah, but the 10 days off
makes up for it.
Makes up for it.
Yeah.
Huge.
Yeah.
Right, so I did it to say I don't love what I do. Do I like what I do? Yeah. Can I do it efficiently and effectively? For sure. Is it my passion? No, not for a second. Can't lie to you.
That's what kills me. Is if I'm not passionate about it, I can't do it.
Not really.
I have a very hard time getting into stuff that's because that sounds like it would not be the easiest job to just...
It's not...
I couldn't just go and apply for that job and get that job.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Me and him both, I can't ignore... I can speak for you on this. I can't ignore that I hate what I'm doing. Or that I don't like what I'm doing.
Yeah.
It's like when I said about painting, I'm good at it. I fucking hate it.
Yeah.
And a lot of it is the people that do it.
Mm-hmm.
It's the
For
environment.
Sure.
It's the fact that bro, I'm not talking bad about anybody I don't know, but about the people I have worked with. There's a lot of fucking alcoholics. There's a lot of drug addicts. There's a lot
trades,
of and
right?
look at. I'm not fucking.
No, I'm not digging on them, but it's different.
Yeah. I'm not digging on somebody because they got some.
But if you're
shit
not
going
into
on,
that, it's not.
Well, I also do my shit,
right.
But it's at the end of the day. I don't even know how to put it.
I understand. You have difficult time focusing on tasks that you don't find interesting, or with people that you don't find interesting.
I don't even know why I brought the alcoholism shit into it. But
I
it's
understand though, because you can't connect with those people. You're not getting along with those people. It's very challenging, and your brain, whether you understand this or not, if you do actually deal with ADHD, which is the only diagnosis now. There's no such thing as ADD. There's no any of that. It's all ADHD now. And actually, which is sort of strange, is they've put it on the autism spectrum now, believe it or not.
I didn't know that part.
Yeah. So they put it on the autism spectrum. It's just that if autism's all the way over here, ADHD's all the way over here. So it's sort of the opposite.
Okay.
Right? So a lot of us people with ADHD are very outgoing and very social. But the problem is the same as a lack of dopamine. Right? And when your brain gets dopamine the way it wants it, right? Jiu-jitsu.
Yes.
Right? Good music. Good food. Things that hit that, you can feel it after you know yourself and understand alcohol, marijuana, whatever hits that fucking receptor for you, you're like, woo!
Yeah.
But everything else feels like torture. It's so crazy to explain to people because they think you're lazy. It's like, no, I'm lazy when I don't like something.
But I will fucking work deadly towards something that I want.
Like, for example, right, when I was in nursing school, I really wanted to achieve the goal of being a nurse. So that's how I twisted it to trick my brain into liking it.
Right.
I didn't like it, but I could trick my brain into liking it because I saw dollar signs at the end, and I saw a career that was good for me, that would help me in an effective way. So I was able to sort of trick my brain, and I would study a fucking ridiculous amount.
Yeah.
Like, I'm talking about 6 hours a day, plus school.
Like it was your job.
More than that.
Yeah.
Which is a lot when you have, like, fucking, you know, the wheels are spinning and,
Yes.
you know.
Yeah. So I'm talking about I would go to school for 3-4 hours.
Are you, like, medicated or anything for the ADHD?
At the time, yeah.
Okay, so did that, no, that's my question, because I haven't done that shit since I was, I'm getting back into possibly getting those options in my life again.
Yeah.
And does that help as an adult? Did you take it as a kid?
I took it as a kid and as an adult.
What was your thoughts on it when you were a kid?
I
hated it.
So, I guess I liked it, but I liked it because I was being praised for doing it.
Oh,
you know what I mean?
Okay. Yeah,
absolutely. I liked it because my mom put me on it, and I would take it, and she would say, "Good job."
Yeah.
Whatever. But do I think I liked the way it made me feel? I don't know.
Right.
I can't really give you an honest representation of did I like it, did I not, because I always liked it because I was praised for taking it.
Okay.
If I took it, I was praised, and if I forgot or I didn't take it, I was sort of like reprimanded.
So
I don't want to say reprimanded, but they was sort of like, come on, why'd you forget to take your meds or whatever? Do you know what I mean? And that was tough for me as a kid, and I was super addicted to them.
Yeah.
Like that's the hard part.
I'm talking about, I would literally, my wife can remember when I was a kid, because I've been with my wife since we were 16, and I can remember having toddler level meltdowns.
Yeah.
When the pharmacy couldn't fill my toddler level, threatening the pharmacist, freaking out, smashing my hands on the desk like a heroin addict looking for a fix.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Crying screaming and sobbing and freaking out because I couldn't get my meds.
Yep.
Do you know what I mean?
Yep.
Because you're so addicted, and I remember feeling like I was a bad person when I didn't take my meds. And that was and it's not my mom's fault. She did the best that she could in the given situation that she was in. But the way that she made me feel with it was, you're a mean person or you're a bad person when you don't take your meds.
Yeah.
Right? And did I have a huge temper? Of course, I have a huge temper now. It's just about how you manage it.
Yep.
And I remember when I didn't take it, I'd feel so guilty because I felt like I was being nasty or mean or whatever to other people. But what I didn't realize was that I was fucking withdrawing from amphetamines.
Yep.
Is what was really happening.
That's the fucking rub.
The reason why is because I was withdrawing from amphetamines when I stopped taking it, because I forgot or because I ran out or whatever. So then I would say I think it'll be 2 years in January from now. Like in January it'll have been like 2 full years. And I feel like a totally different, better human being. I'll never go back on it. My dad died of cardiac problems, and I don't need stimulants affecting my heart. I'm already 28 years old, I have hypertension, high blood pressure. I'm never going to take stimulants again. Even if I thought it was going to change my life in a positive way,
not worth
I'm never going to take stimulants again. I want my fucking heart to work.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And I'm not crusading against stimulants. If you want to make it in school as a kid with ADHD, now I'm not saying the school system's great or the way we do school in this country is good, because it's not. But if you want to make it in that system, and you have severe ADHD, you either have to have the best fucking parents on the planet who are going to give you all the support and tools and things that you have required,
which from what I understand,
most people don't have. Most people don't have. Okay. Or you have to take the meds.
Yeah.
Because otherwise you can't sit still and focus on something that you're not interested in without the meds.
But I will say, through experience, didn't help me focus. It helped me just be a fucking zombie. My father used to say, dude, what are you, fucking stoned? But that's the only reason why you could get through school. Because that was all, otherwise you're bouncing off the fucking walls. But it made me sit down, shut the fuck up.
And listen, that's what they want.
And that's where I was like, school ain't for me.
Right.
Then I literally fucking 5 years later I quit. And I was just, and it was because I got...
You think about going back and getting some kind of...
I got a GED.
Okay, you got a GED.
But I initially, the reason I left school was I was 14.
Right.
I was hanging out with probably the wrong crowd.
Definitely the wrong crowd.
And I was getting into fights.
Yeah. So they asked you nicely to leave, I imagine, is what
Fuck
it came down
no.
to? Yeah.
They were literally like fucking...
That's what I mean. Get the fuck out. We don't want to deal with you anymore.
It was more than that. I was fucking selling weed at the time and shit, and I was
Doing stupid
like
shit.
14, bro.
Yeah.
But I was hanging out with fucking 19-year-olds that were literally handing me fucking shit, and they were like, it was so easy to...
But it sounds like maybe you didn't have the best role models at the time. That's not to pick on your dad or your mom or anything like that.
No, you're right, though. You're right.
Maybe you didn't have the best role models, so you chose who you could.
We weren't necessarily being paid attention to, and it was, like, easy to go on the streets and just do what I was doing.
Right, especially in the area that you grew up in. It's available and accessible. You know what I mean?
It's inevitable.
Yeah, I was really lucky to grow up where I did in Salem. Sorry.
No, you're good.
Because there wasn't... it was there, but it's so much harder to find.
Yeah.
Like, you have to go looking for it.
You're almost an asshole if you don't do it where I'm from. Like, you're the kid that gets picked on if you don't fuck around.
Right.
You know? But it felt... When I was doing that medication, bro, I was on Concerta.
Yeah,
I've been on Ritalin. I've been on Adderall.
Yeah.
I've been on all of it.
Yeah. So I took Concerta 72, which is the max dose.
I think we was on the same thing. It's like a little gray pill.
No, two of the white ones.
Okay.
Doubled up. The silver one's like 56 or whatever.
Yeah.
I don't remember.
I think I do, yeah. The silver ones, or they were like brown barrels, were like 54 or whatever.
Okay.
And then I took the white barrels that were 32, but I would take two of them to make, or 36, I don't know. It was like 72 milligrams. So 36 and 36 is 72, right? And I took that for a long time. And it was fucking hard to stop taking them. But I didn't want my heart to get fucked up. And I was so sick of being obligated to the pharmacy and obligated to the doctor. So I said, fuck it. I'm all done. I'm not going to take these anymore. And it was horrific for like 6 weeks.
Yeah, the withdrawal on that shit is not nice.
And especially people don't understand. They'll tell you like all different things about it. But I took it religiously for 20 years. Like, I'm talking about if I missed a day, it was the worst day of the month.
Right.
Like, I took it every weekday,
that's your
weekend,
morning routine. Boom.
Every day for 20 years. Every fucking day.
And 20 years is a long fucking time,
if I forgot it and I was at work, I would leave work, come home, and go back to work.
Right.
Because in my head, I couldn't function.
You weren't functioning
without
that.
In my head, I can't do it. I can't do life without it at the time.
Right.
You know? So
but the fucked up thing is nobody stops that.
Yeah, well,
that's what I hate.
Not only do they not stop it, it's driven a lot of times. These days, it's a little bit better. They're putting less kids on them and stuff, but...
Yeah, but it's not better, bro. It's like... I remember, like, a few years ago, I literally just wanted to talk about it with my doctor, and I was on the same damn Stewart Healthcare. Yeah. I was on the same thing. And
primary care doctors don't want to hear about your psychiatric and neurological problems.
But I was like, listen, can I just, like, ask, like, I had ADHD as a kid. Yeah, I'm not functioning the right way at work. I hated my fucking job. You know what I mean? At the time, I hated my job. I dreaded waking up. Mm-hmm. It was you get it.
Been there.
So I didn't I was at the point where I was like fucking. I didn't want to wake up in the morning. And by the time I got home,
pretty much.
I was going through it. I told my doctor about it, and he literally told me that ADHD is fake.
Yeah, I know.
And I was like, wait.
Yeah, primary care doctors don't want to hear it. They're usually not the best about that. And then the problem is, too, a lot of them, and not primary care is necessarily just docs, they don't understand. They treat it as a psychiatric illness and stuff like that, when in reality, ADHD is not a psychiatric illness. It's a neurological condition that you are born with. You can actually test somebody for ADHD, and don't quote me on the exact words, but there's if you do some sort of brain scan or whatever, your fucking neurons fire differently. Believe it or not, much slower than the average person.
Which is interesting.
If the average,
think the opposite.
Right, you would. So if the average person's neurons, these numbers are totally arbitrary, and I'm just pulling them out of my ass. They're not real numbers. Say the average person's neurons fire at 100,000 per second.
Yep.
That number could be totally fucking wrong. I'm just throwing a number out.
Yep.
Somebody with severe ADHD fires at 50,000 a second. And that's why we take stimulants, central nervous system stimulants.
To make it fire higher.
To push it up.
Yeah.
Right? The problem is all the side effects.
Yes.
Right?
And the dependency.
That's a side effect. Right? The dependency or addiction, whatever you want to call it. I call it addiction because that's really what it turns into more than dependency.
Yeah.
Weight loss for a lot of people. I never had that problem. I was 300 pounds on Ritalin, but.
I mean, it's like.
But you were on it for a long stretch.
Dependency. I know a dude that, I'm not gonna throw his fucking
I understand. Yeah.
But he takes Vyvanse.
Yeah.
And when he runs out of them,
he's a menace.
I play Xbox online, and he just doesn't play at all.
Yeah.
He won't talk to us.
Yeah.
And he just disappears for a month, gets his fucking shit.
Like, if I would run out of meds, I would literally lay in bed face down for hours.
Yeah.
Couldn't move, couldn't get up, couldn't... And people don't understand, they think that's just laziness or whatever, but your brain doesn't know how to function.
Right.
Without that dopamine, and if you don't understand that...
Fucking legal math, dude.
None of us were educated, though, about ADHD. At least I wasn't, I can say. I was never educated about, you need a routine. And if you don't have a routine, you're never going to be able to do anything.
Right.
If you have ADHD and you don't use a routine, you're fucked.
Right.
You're already going to ruin your life.
Right.
You're never going to be able to accomplish anything without a routine with ADHD. If you don't understand that you have to leverage the things that you enjoy in order to make your life better, then you're fucked. ADHD people with ADHD, cannot live this Monday through Friday 9 to 5 life where you go to work and grind every day and come home and you get 2 days off. You can do it. Can it be done? For sure. But you're going to fucking hate your life.
Yeah.
You're going to be miserable unless you love what you do.
So do you notice when you take a day off of jiu-jitsu?
Yeah, I'm less happy.
You fucking, I literally, fall apart.
I would say
He'll tell you.
It's not quite so bad for me because I do train so much that I'm okay having some rest time and shit like
you're
that.
a fucking 2-3 a day guy.
Yeah, so. I train as much as I can because that's what I want to do. That's what I like. You know what I mean? That's what I enjoy doing.
If I don't do it, bro, I get, fucking antsy and, aggravated, and somebody will fucking come at me with a little tiny problem, and I'm just, get the fuck out of my face.
I'm fortunate that I've sort of worked past those feelings. Do you know what I mean? Sometimes, for the most part.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I definitely, and that's the one thing people don't understand about people with ADHD is, sometimes, and I don't like to cop out on things, but some things are just not in my control.
Yeah.
Like, some days you're just going to catch me on the, and it's not an excuse, right? Because I understand that it's wrong to be this way at times. But sometimes somebody will just say something to me, and I'll freak the fuck out.
Yeah.
And I'll apologize. I understand that it's not everybody else's problem that I struggle with this. It's not everybody else's deal. So of course, I'm going to apologize and say, hey, I'm sorry, this is my fault. But in being a good friend to somebody like that, you have to sort of understand. My wife's the best about this. Because I will freak the fuck out about something. And it's usually, the funny thing is, it's never a big deal. The big things, I'm like, whatever, no worries. But, sometimes this is so silly. Sometimes it'll be I was expecting to eat chicken for dinner.
And you gave me pork.
And I can't compute with it.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be super mad for no reason. And it's fucking idiotic, but my brain won't not.
The other day, my mom, I think she just moved some stuff.
Yeah.
That was she moved my rash guards.
Yeah.
And I was like, Mom,
it's the end of the world.
What the fuck are you doing?
Yeah, it's the end of the world.
I was just put them on my bed. Don't put them somewhere I'm not going to see them. What are you doing? Why are you hiding stuff on me? I'm not hiding them. I just moved them so Nana can sit down.
Right.
But it's this big thing where I'm I have to control myself so that I'm not what the fuck?
Yeah, sometimes you want to freak the fuck out.
And it's over dumb shit, but you realize it later, and you're what the fuck was I mad about,
And if you're good about it, you if you're mature enough as an adult, you can look at it and turn around and say, hey, Mom, I'm really sorry.
Right.
I didn't mean to get that mad about it. It's no big deal. And that's part of what I test to. I've been with my wife, like I said, for 12 years now.
Yeah.
Is that she gets it.
That's a long-ass time for someone your age,
It's a wicked long time.
That's a long time.
It's a wicked long time. We met when we were 16. So, she understands when I'm having a day.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what I mean? And she can go, yeah, you're being an asshole, but I understand. And you know what I mean? And then I'll apologize, and it's everything's okay. She understands that.
That's huge, though.
It's part of who I am as a person is that sometimes the water bottle was supposed to be here and the water bottle was here. And to me, that's the end of the world for some reason.
Yeah.
And I haven't quite learned how to deal with it now. Of course, I know how not to freak out about it. I'll get away from everybody else, and then I can just scream and yell at myself, and then it doesn't hurt anybody's feelings, and it's no big deal. But when you're a kid and you don't understand that, you take it out on everybody around you.
We grew up with my mother. This is like before, I don't know, before autism and all that
No, I
stuff.
understand.
Like
Before it was out there.
Before it was out there. Like, my mom is this person that's like fucking, she's constantly changing. Whether it's like...
No, I understand. Do you think she might have ADHD? Because that's a big thing that
I don't know, dude, but like, I wouldn't doubt it. Like,
it's definitely hereditary, for sure, 100%.
So, Dad, fucking for sure.
Yeah.
Mom,
I think it's,
maybe.
I think it's always hard to kind of, for me anyways, in my life, it's always hard. Like, I know when someone has
I can
ADHD,
tell right off the rip.
And but like the dead giveaway for me is if like for me every fucking tattoo artist that I know has ADHD because they can't fucking center in on anything except shit that they genuinely love to do and they love to look at and they love like beyond that they would not be able to get up and do a fucking 40-hour week.
Yeah, well, it's like, it's one of those things, you know, and I don't know if this is true or false, so I don't want to necessarily speak to it, but I'll speak to what this one guy in this one book I read spoke about. And he was a Navy SEAL kind of guy, and it was, I forget exactly what book it is. I've read a fuckload of them. I have this kind of enamorment with high-level people, like whatever it is, so either it's military or high-level athletes or anybody who's a excessively good performer.
The David Goggins of the world.
Yeah, I like those guys. I don't like him particularly. I think he's kind of a wild man.
He's so intense.
He's cool, but he's a little intense for me. I respect and appreciate what he does.
Maybe Jocko instead.
And it's fuel. I love Jocko, love Rogan,
yep.
But otherwise though, I like real high performers. Like I think people who are like Navy SEALs, Army Rangers, those are fucking seriously
like elite.
Interesting, elite human beings. And what this one guy said is that he believes that a lot of those high performers have ADHD, and they just found an outlet that worked for them.
They found a fucking avenue to sink their attention into.
Something to sink their teeth into. So I thought that was very interesting. And
Go ahead, sorry.
A lot of high performers struggle with ADHD, and a lot of high performers, very high performers, struggle with bipolar disorder. Because with bipolar disorder, when you're in a manic episode, so I don't know what your base of knowledge is in regards to bipolar disorder, but it's not what most people think. What most people think about bipolar disorder, if you say that, they think it's somebody who has mood swings,
violent people,
and are violent and all over the place, and it's not that.
Yeah.
Right? I'll give you the in a nutshell version because I'm not good enough to remember the exact DSM requirements, right? But you have to have a period of depression followed by a period of mania.
Yeah.
Severely increased energy, right? Where you don't sleep well, poor sleep, poor appetite, sexual promiscuity, crazy spending. These are all
wild behavior.
Right. So these things are all actually tenets of diagnosing bipolar disorder.
Yeah. Sexual
promiscuity, irresponsible spending, impulsivity,
drinking,
alcoholics and addicts,
drug abuse.
So they say 90% of addicts, and this isn't a true fact, this is something that I've heard, is that they say somewhere around 90% of addicts struggle with some kind of mental illness.
Yeah.
And a large majority of them struggle with bipolar disorder.
I would say a lot of the mental shit is to do with trauma.
Oh, yeah. For sure.
Because they're trying to bury something.
For sure. And, I mean, the thing is, too, if you look at all these things have higher rate of addiction.
Yeah.
And a lot of them, really, people don't understand about mental illness is that it decreases your life expectancy, for sure.
Oh, yeah.
People with ADHD have like a 15-year decreased life expectancy to the average person.
But it's because of all those extra those side effects.
It's like, not even just the drugs, though. It's the base.
No. I'm not saying side effects drug-wise. I'm saying like just like the idea that like when I get in fucking a deep state of like depression, I'm gonna drink.
Yeah.
I'm gonna smoke. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do that.
Impulsivity.
It's or the sexual promiscuity and all these other things that go along just the wild man behavior.
Yeah. It's cool. It makes you an interesting guy. A lot of people that I know that are super interesting struggle with ADHD and stuff like that. And I fancy myself a moderately interesting guy to be around. And I think a lot of it is because when you struggle with ADHD, you do wild shit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And you're drawn to wild shit.
Yeah, you're drawn to the most wild shit. Stuff doesn't really, if I'm honest, stuff doesn't really interest me unless there's some level of danger or major thrill involved in it.
Right.
Like motorcycles, so much fun. Why? Because you might fucking die.
Yeah.
That's the
it's that adrenaline dump.
It's like the fact that you might die is the fun part.
Yeah.
It's like skydiving.
Skydiving. I was just going to say that.
The fact that you might die is fucking awesome.
Yeah.
And then you don't, and you're like, whoa, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Right, so it's crazy, though, to understand that people with mental illness, I got a sticker here, mental illness just as important as physical health. Or mental health, rather, just as important as physical health.
I like the first one better.
Right? So it's super interesting that, and I see it in what I do on a day-to-day basis, is that you'll see people, especially with schizophrenia, we'll speak to, right? Severely debilitating mental illness. The severe debilitating mental illness, if you really talk about it.
Yeah.
Right? People with schizophrenia's lifespan is like much lower. You know?
I didn't know that.
Yeah, much lower.
I have quite a few friends that they
It
deal with
doesn't mean necessarily that they're going to die earlier. It just means that on the whole, if you take 100 people with schizophrenia or 100 normal people, percentage-wise, they're going to die quicker.
Now, is that because, like what I was saying, is that because of their lifestyle?
Number one, lifestyle.
Yeah.
Number two, you have to take the drugs if you have schizophrenia.
And that...
The antipsychotic.
You cannot function without the drugs if you have schizophrenia. It's just not going to happen. I don't care what you tell me, or you don't.
Yeah,
no.
One of my friends, another one on the Xbox thing, schizophrenic, and the dude literally, like clockwork, every day has to take it. When he doesn't, you won't even hear
He's a mess. Yeah, he's
some of the
nightmare.
fucking coolest people I've ever met have been schizophrenic.
Oh, for sure. I meet a ton of them, right? I take care of this guy right now. He's a wild man. He's old, and he just talks crazy about politics and shit, but he's super interesting if you actually listen to him. But
because they're people that are constantly thinking.
Yeah. So the drugs, though, that they have to take for it are horrific.
Yeah.
Horrific. I mean, just terrible. The big one is clozapine or Clozaril.
I've heard of it.
And that's like the big gun for severe schizophrenia.
Yeah.
Right? So they have like haloperidol or Haldol that people have been taking for many, many, many years. And Thorazine, you've probably heard of Thorazine, right? So those are antipsychotics, right? They're typical antipsychotics.
Like lithium and stuff like that?
Lithium is a mood stabilizer. So it's a little bit different. Lithium is for people with bipolar disorder.
Okay.
But you have Zyprexa, you have Haldol, you have Seroquel and Thorazine.
Seroquel I've actually taken.
Yeah, Seroquel and Thorazine and Clozapine and Stelazine, and there's a million of them, right? But some things like Clozaril, like I can tell that you're on Clozaril from looking at you.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? I can look at you from across the room and
there are visible
you're
effects.
on Clozaril.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? They'll drool. They have muscle atrophy. They look sedated all the time. Their skin looks like shit. Their whole body they get constipation to the point of obstipation, I think they call it is the term. Is like where you're fucking totally blocked and you can't go to the bathroom at all.
And that has a fucking, just that alone, never mind all the other things you listed, that alone will have a severe effect on your well-being.
For sure.
You know? And
then if you think about it, is that they're going to have difficult time making friends and maintaining friendships, which is huge.
That's massive.
Right, because they're going to be way out there, and a lot of times they're going to be mean and nasty, and a lot of times they lose a lot of their supports.
And people aren't going to understand why.
People don't understand that when they're screaming and cussing and acting a fool, basically. If you don't understand it, that's what it comes across as. Is that this is part of their illness.
Right.
Right? Is that
and they don't mean it.
No, their paranoia and the delusions. Delusions are such a crazy thing to understand if you don't deal with them. And as somebody who doesn't deal with them, but deals with people who experience this, it's like imagine, so you, both of you know that if we go outside and we get in the water, we're going to get wet, right?
Yeah.
That is how strongly people with schizophrenia believe their delusions. Just as strongly as you and I believe.
It's a fact.
That to them, to their mind, that the fact that the CIA is tracking them down, for example, I'm just using
right
out there, right? They believe it just as strongly as we believe that if I jump in that water, I'm going to get wet.
Now, an example of what you're talking about, I've had, maybe not a great example, but one of my really good friends growing up was diagnosed schizophrenic when he was like 18.
Yeah, which is weird. Which is young.
Well, yeah, but yes and no. I'm not going to argue with you.
For schizophrenia, it's for sure young.
I just know, all I've heard is that it like starts, as you're becoming an adult, it starts like kicking in.
The 20s.
Yeah.
For men, it's like between, it's.
But it also runs in the family. So
it's like, for men, it's like 18 to 30. For women, it's usually like 25 to 35.
Yep.
Do you know what I mean?
It's as you're maturing mentally.
Yeah.
But I literally have had times when, like, because I didn't, like, stop hanging out with him or anything. Like, that's one of my best friends.
Yeah.
But I've been talking to him, and, like, I would stop talking and, like, start watching TV, and he would be with me, and he would just go, what?
Yeah.
And I'm like, what?
Right, so auditory and visual hallucinations are, like, one of the number one indicators.
Par for the course.
I mean, if you don't have hallucinations, you have one of two or both.
Yeah.
To have schizophrenia, you must have delusions or paranoia, or hallucinations. Right. A lot of times they have both, but you got to have one. Otherwise, you don't have that. You have something else.
So what if you're like one of those like grandiose people? That's like.
So grandiosity can be more than one different illness.
That's what I'm saying. Like, could it be?
People who struggle with bipolar disorder can exhibit grandiosity. Grandiosity, if anybody doesn't understand, is you think like you're God. You're like the greatest thing on the planet. It doesn't have to be God, but...
Or you've come up with this amazing idea.
Yeah, you have the best idea, and you're going to make $1 cajillion, and you're going to pitch it to the mayor, and you're just like... You have these grandiose...
And it could literally be bottled water.
Yeah. Right, so that can be a symptom of bipolar disorder or schizophrenia, or a little bit of both, right? There's also schizoaffective disorder.
Okay.
I don't know if you've ever heard of that.
I have.
That's like you have a psychotic disorder and a mood disorder, right? So you have like symptoms of schizophrenia and a mood disorder too.
So would it be the schizophrenia that's affecting the mood?
No, it's together. Works together, like it's a together deal. So you have schizophrenia and a mood disorder. So you have schizophrenia and depression.
Ah, okay.
Schizophrenia and severe anxiety.
How could you fucking not have both?
Correct. Yeah. Well, you can. Some of them are happy and crazy.
Which is wild to me.
Yeah. And I hate to say crazy. When I use the term crazy, it's loose, and I guess everybody has to sort of understand that I've been around these people for a long time, and I don't mean it in sort of a negative way. It's just easier than saying, they're exhibiting symptoms of psychosis before, right?
Right.
And you know what? They'll say they're fucking crazy, too, if you deal with them long enough and if you take care of them long enough. And I have enough brownie points from taking care of these motherfuckers that I'll say what I want. And it is really challenging to pick out what is what.
Yeah.
Right? Are you depressed because you have schizophrenia and your life sucks? Because 99% of people with schizophrenia have horrific lives.
Right.
In and out of institutions their whole life.
Because that's the first fucking thing they're dealing with.
Yeah,
they're not dealing with...
homeless, using drugs oftentimes. The only ones that succeed are the ones that have huge, huge support.
And the drugs are fucking only making things worse.
Yeah. And it like you were saying, it kind of hit, in most cases anyways, that shit just hits you out of nowhere in your 20s. Like, you just, like, there it is, you got schizophrenia.
Yeah, and it's kind of...
that's new.
If you have it, you have it, and if you don't, you don't.
Yeah.
It's not something you do.
It's very fucking hard to understand it when you don't have it.
So, and what I mean is, though, you don't develop it, usually.
Okay. Yeah.
You have it, or you don't fucking have it.
There's like an underlying thing, and then
it'll come out eventually.
Yeah.
But it kind of, I'm assuming, anyways, I don't know shit about it, but I'm assuming that it just kind of kicks in when your brain fully matures.
Either when your brain fully matures, or sometimes when you do some stupid shit. Right?
I've heard it like drug.
Yeah, it'll be a lot of times. Now, I'm not an anti-marijuana cannabis person, whatever.
That's what kicked it in for my buddy.
Right, so but there is real...
But we smoked with him for fucking years, dude!
Right, it doesn't matter, though. One time, it's just fucking...
Too much.
Clicks them off the wrong way. And I am pro, you want to smoke cannabis, smoke, whatever. I publicly keep my opinions quiet.
Yeah.
But, whatever you want to do, whatever makes you happy, God bless you. Smoke weed if it makes you happy.
Yeah.
Shit, most people that I know that smoke pot just smile and wave.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I got no problem with it. But it does fuck some people up.
Yeah.
Like, there is cannabis-induced psychosis. People smoke too much pot and get fucking crazy.
Mm-hmm.
It just happens. It's just a fact.
But that can happen with Adderall, too.
Oh, it can happen with a million things. It can happen with any drug. I'm only talking marijuana because it's people... And this is coming from somebody who historically has used marijuana and stuff like that. It's people think, oh, it's fine, it's just weed, it's okay. Like, well, not for everybody.
Right.
Like, not for everybody. For some people, it's fucking bad.
There are sleeping giants in those people.
Yeah,
and
you know
wake it up by...
Yeah, is it 90% of the people are going to smoke pot and be fine, just giggle and fuck around and eat some pizza or whatever? Yeah, that's like 99% of the people. But there are those fucking people that, they smoke pot once and they're all of a sudden psychotic.
Right.
Or they've been smoking pot for
it's
years.
Like, go ask Alice.
And then all of a sudden they're having a psychotic breakdown.
I can give you an example of how different it can be too, just in the simple fact that for me, like if I'm super anxious, I can smoke in this.
You smoke and you're chill right away.
Yeah. But a lot of the people that I know, the overwhelming majority of them, when they smoke, it gives them anxiety.
Yeah, a lot of people.
But I actually I'm diagnosed with anxiety. I have really bad anxiety.
Yeah.
And to the point where it's like going out in public.
It's tough. Right?
Fucks with my head.
Right.
And so, but if I was to smoke before I went to, say, the grocery store, I had somebody drive me to the grocery store so that I could,
Whatever, I get it.
And, but I would have a much easier time keeping my thoughts together, getting my stuff in the carriage, going through my list and all that. And
you might buy more food than you need.
And if I don't, I'm just distracted by my own shit the whole time, and I'm overwhelmed.
And like I said, I definitely am not an anti-weed guy by any means. But drugs in general just really can...
You're taking a risk.
Anything you put in your body, and when I say drugs, I do not just mean the ones on the street.
Right.
I'm talking about fucking Tylenol. I'm talking about anything.
Anything
that you put in your body has a liability to fuck you up in one way or the other.
You can overdose on Advil.
You can, definitely. And you know what you can even more easily overdose on is Tylenol.
Right.
That's like a very common thing that people come in with. They overdose on Tylenol.
No shit.
Commonly. It's it's a normal thing that happens.
Yeah, I mean, you can...
For me, in my environment.
You can take 4 of those and have a adverse reaction.
Might be your last headache.
Yeah, I think the max dose on those is like 2 at a time or something, right?
The max dose for the day is 3,200 milligrams in a 24-hour period of Tylenol. That's what they say.
Yeah.
That's like what it says on the back of the on the back of the box. And if you figure one of them is usually 325. Mm-hmm. That's like one standard Tylenol.
Yep.
So 2 is 650. So you'd have to take it every 6 hours or something like that.
Some people forget. Especially being sick. If you're sick, you just think, oops, I forgot that I took one 2 hours ago.
Fucking dealing with back pain or something like that, bro?
Yeah.
Big time. It can be really challenging. So anytime you put any chemical in your body at all, natural, unnatural, food, some people eat peanuts and die.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So you take a risk anytime you ingest something in your body, especially if it's something you've not taken before. And it's really, some people, they do coke one time and, they have a fucking heart attack. Mm-hmm. And then some people do blow for 20 years and they're fine.
Right.
You know what I mean? And then some people, take heroin one time and they're like, that's not for me, and they never do it again. And then some people shoot heroin and they die. And it's, not uncommon.
Yeah.
Right? So drugs are such a scary thing, especially for somebody like myself who sees it all the time. You're like, fuck, man.
And then you add any other underlying condition to any one of those things, and it fucking changes the entire chemistry of the drug.
Completely.
Which is crazy.
Yeah.
You're not expecting that thing to fucking change your life forever. You're just trying to maybe have, one recreational go at something, and it'll fuck your whole life up.
Acid's a big one that happens.
That's a big one, yeah.
You know what I mean? And again, I'm not anti hallucinogenics. Right? I don't think mushrooms and acid and shit like that's necessarily... I don't think any drug... I don't even think heroin inherently is bad. Right? The thing... It's just bad how we use it.
There's some of the same ingredients in medical shit.
Well, morphine is heroin.
Yeah.
Essentially, for all intents and purposes, right? Morphine's heroin. So everything has...
So is Percocet and OxyContin.
That's what I mean. All those opioids are essentially
Yeah.
accomplishing the same goal. You know what I mean? Getting in those opiate receptors to make your body hurt less. Right? But, I've lost my train of thought completely now. Oh, acid and stuff like that.
Yes.
A lot of people I've seen take acid. Crazy.
Yeah.
Gone forever now. They're gone forever.
But that's along the lines of the person that has underlying conditions that smokes pot. Now you're kicking it into fucking fourth gear.
Yeah.
You know, and it's bending your mind.
Yeah.
You know, and that
sure.
you might not come back from that. That's where all those fucking stories come from. Do I believe in all those stories where it's like the guy took acid and fucking jumped off the roof?
I believe it.
But maybe that guy was a jackass in the first place.
My wife's first cousin, I can talk about him now because he's dead. Will Driscoll, he's a beautiful soul. When he was a kid, I remember vaguely, he was like a hockey player, like a good hockey player. He was going to get college scholarships and all that. He went to college, was doing a lot of ecstasy, had a psychotic break.
That is an interesting drug, doesn't it? Like that scientifically, doesn't it leave holes in your brain?
I'm not super familiar with it. to be honest with you, enough to speak in an educated fashion about
Okay.
it. Do you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I don't really understand the mechanism of it all, but I know that he took a lot of a lot of ecstasy, and, you know, he's schizophrenic.
Yeah.
And was he going to have schizophrenia already? It's very possible. His family has tons of mental illness. His mom's got bipolar disorder. His sister's got bipolar disorder.
But that certainly made it worse.
But it certainly didn't help.
Yeah.
And, I mean, he just passed away last year. He overdosed. He thought he was doing crack. He did crack. He did a ton of crack. That was his thing. You know, and he thought he was doing crack, and he got fentanyl and overdosed.
Jesus,
Dead.
dude.
You know what I mean? So it's like you just don't know these days what all is going on.
Yeah.
You know? But it's super interesting to see from a perspective that I do, is that all the shit that happens to these people, you know what I mean? Because I get them on their worst day kind of thing.
Right.
So it's super interesting.
And you got to deal with it.
Right. But
You're the one helping them get to the better place.
Yeah, or trying to,
Right.
at least, right? Because at the end of the day, the only person that can help somebody who struggles with severe mental illness is themselves.
Yeah.
You know? They need to decide, I'm going to get better. Same for drugs and addiction.
God, that's hard.
It's super hard. Is that you have to decide that you would like to get better and you would like to improve yourself.
I'm not comparing the two, but it's almost similar to like an alcoholic. Where
Well,
like, I'm not going to convince you to stop drinking.
I mean,
you got to want to stop.
It's exactly the same.
You know?
It's not a bad example at all. It's the example.
Okay.
Yeah, no, alcoholics and addicts are the same.
Yeah.
It's the fucking same thing. And it's the same deal with people with mental illnesses, that if you don't want to get better, it's very hard to make you get better. Can it be done?
Because it's a forced thing.
Yeah, and then you're forced to do it, and you don't want to do it, right? Can we? Yeah, courts, legally, I have on many occasions given people medication against their will.
Yeah. But is that necessarily going to make them better? You know what I mean? Or is it just going to fucking sedate them for now?
In the short term, it might make them better.
Right.
But if they don't want to follow through and they don't want to continue taking it, because at the end of the day, some of these illnesses are only going to be managed through medication, right? Like people with schizophrenia, for example, like therapy is not even indicated for people with schizophrenia. It's not even an indicated treatment.
That's weird.
Super weird, right? But it doesn't help people with schizophrenia therapy. Because for people with schizophrenia, you're never going to get those delusions or the paranoia to be gone.
Right.
It doesn't go away. You can't even medicate away delusions and paranoia and stuff like that. Can you medicate them to a point that it's not in the forefront of their mind all the time? For sure. But they're always going to believe in the back of their mind, no, the CIA is following me, or whatever.
Right.
I'm just using that as an example, right?
The best case scenario is really going to be to get them to just get a clear understanding of when they're going through an episode and when they're not.
And get them to buy into taking the medication all the time, because at the end of the day, the only thing that... And I'm a very pro less meds than more meds for most things. But when it comes to people with schizophrenia, the only thing that treats them is meds. It's the only thing that works. Right now, can we do some group therapy and things like that? Yeah, fine. But the cornerstone of treatment for somebody with a psychotic disorder is medication.
Is changing the chemical
changing
makeup.
the chemistry in their brain.
Yeah.
Because otherwise, you're just not going to be able to get anywhere with them. Right? So dealing with that is super challenging because a lot of the medications are horrific. Right? They give you bad side effects, and you feel like shit, and you feel sedated all the time. Right? Your dick doesn't work, and also especially some antidepressants and stuff like that.
It's like making you feel worse as a person as opposed to better.
Yeah. It's like...
and that would be fucking hard to keep doing.
The crazy one that I think about is like a lot of SSRIs, which are for people with anxiety and depression and stuff like that. Mostly depression.
I'm terrified of those.
Right, so a lot of times it's like SSRI, and I'm not saying SSRIs
like benzos and stuff like that?
Benzos are a totally different animal altogether.
Aren't they like lumped in the same...
Not even close.
No?
They're totally separate. Benzodiazepine...
Give me an example of a benzo in a SSRI.
So benzodiazepine would be like Xanax, Klonopin, Ativan, Valium. There's many others, but those are your most common.
Which is like the...
Those are sedative anti-anxiety medications.
Yeah.
They're anxiolytics.
It shuts your brain down.
Yeah, but do you want to know something really super wild about benzodiazepines? Is they hit the same receptor as alcohol.
And they're supposedly harder to get off of than heroin.
Well, it's alcohol in a pill, essentially.
Wow, that's fucked up, because I know a lot of people, well...
Yeah.
Fuck it. Yeah, I know a lot of people that have done recreational Xanax
and drink
with alcohol.
Yeah, it's the worst thing you can do. You can die really easy that way.
Yeah, and a lot of the stories I hear are that they don't fucking remember a thing they did last night.
So Xanax, it's just or whatever the benzodiazepines, they have a higher affinity for those receptors that alcohol does. Right. So, but the reason why, when people are anxious, they drink.
Yeah.
Right? That's why people drink when they're anxious, because it soothes their anxiety.
Right.
Right? Benzodiazepines are the same thing. The problem with benzos is that they're super addictive, like alcohol.
And there's no, when I have one too many beers, I'm like, fucking put the beer down, I'm out. There's no one too many benzo. There's a line, and once you cross it, you're fucked.
Yeah. Well, and then the other thing is, again, like any other medication, including alcohol for that matter, there's side effects to them. Benzodiazepines are much different than SSRIs. SSRIs are a much more benign sort of class of drugs to me, right? The risk.
Can I have an example of SSRI?
Prozac.
Okay.
Prozac, Zoloft. Let's think. Not Wellbutrin. Effexor.
Mm-hmm. Those are the ones.
Stabilizer.
They're antidepressants.
Yeah.
Mood stabilizers are different. So when you talk about I didn't think this conversation would go in this direction. But I love talking
interested in all this stuff.
But I love talking about it, so it's no biggie to me. Mood stabilizers, your most common number 1 and number 2 mood stabilizers are lithium and Depakote.
Okay.
Right?
So that's going to be more...
None of this is medical advice, by the way.
That's going to be
Gotcha! No.
on the bipolar side of...
Yeah. So lithium
We're both going to go look for these drugs when we're done. No.
Lithium and Depakote are your number 1 and number 2 mood stabilizers. I forget which one these days is officially the first line. I believe it's lithium, but I could be wrong. Those things change all the time. They also have some meds like Tegretol, Lamictal, carbamazepine, oxcarbamazepine. There's weird drugs like that are mood stabilizers too. But the real heavy-duty, hardcore ones that work really good are lithium and Depakote.
Yeah.
But again, the big problem with the ones that work really good is they have a lot of side effects.
Yeah. Yep.
Lithium's very sedating. Depakote's very sedating. Some issues with your liver and stuff like that. All different issues that can come with lithium and Depakote. But lithium, we've been giving people lithium for fucking centuries.
Long time.
Not centuries might be an exaggeration, but a very long time. It was like one of the first drugs that we started to use to treat mental health was lithium.
Yep.
As far as in the current, say in the last couple of 100 years or whatever. I'm sure people were giving them fucking nuts and berries or whatever many years ago. But you know what I'm saying. Like in modern medicine, it was one of the first drugs that we started.
Maybe mushrooms.
Yeah, right. With lithium, and it works really good to stabilize the mood, but drug levels are very difficult with lithium. It's like I could take, or I'm going to give you a better example, because I could say me and you, but I'm very different biologically than you are. Almost another person bigger, right? You could take lithium. Say you take lithium 300 milligrams a day, right? And your lithium level can be within normal limits. Say it's like 0.5, 0.6, right? That's relatively within normal limits for lithium level. And you could take 300 milligrams of lithium twice a day, and your lithium level's 2.5, which is toxic, right? You're going to get sick and die, and you're going to be treated well.
That's fucking insane.
And you're twins.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But because your body metabolizes it different than yours. Right? Or
so you're going to be very careful giving people those kind of medications.
Blood levels all the time. You
have to really watch them.
You have to really monitor them and stuff like that. And eventually you don't have to, because you know what their body is going to do with it, right? But in the beginning, like, we have some
You're going to be cautious.
Yeah, I took care of a guy one time. He was one of the first people I ever took care of when I was doing home care for mental health and psychiatric patients. And I remember, like, Depakote, a normal amount of Depakote that you'll give somebody sometimes is like 500 milligrams twice a day, right?
Which sounds like a lot.
You can go much higher than that, but
really?
A pretty normal dosage, right? And I had this one guy that was on 3,000 milligrams of Depakote twice a day. And I was like, whoa! But his body just metabolized it in such a way. His lithium level was still within normal limits. Just took way more. Oh, I'm sorry, not lithium, Depakote. Depakote level as well, somewhat within normal limits, right? Even though he was taking a fuckload of it. Yeah. The guy was a gorilla. He was like 6'2" and 290 or something like that, right? But you never know. It's like sometimes we see people on methadone, right? Are you familiar with methadone, right? I'm sure you are from where you're from, right? So, I mean, some people, right, they'll take, it'll be this big giant dude, and he'll take like 75 milligrams of methadone, and he'll be gorked out And you'll see some little lady, like 100 pounds, that's on like 200 milligrams of methadone and is like chipper as fuck.
Yeah.
She's been slamming for 10 years.
Yeah, you know what I mean? And your body just reacts differently to it.
She's just a heroin wizard.
She used to hang out with Gigi Allen.
Yeah, you know what I mean? So real kind of like wildness. But the thing with SSRIs is, though, do you know what the main side effect of SSRIs, or one of the main side effects of SSRIs are?
No.
Suicidal thoughts.
Yeah.
The fucking number
All right,
one.
so I was
problem,
gonna go there. I was actually gonna go there.
Number one problem you're trying to combat is depression, and some of the drugs you give people for depression make them want to kill themselves.
That's what makes me terrified of that shit, because I do deal with depression. It's not diagnosed, but I'm not fucking. I've been dealing with this shit for so long that I'm like.
Yeah, you know.
I've researched it and everything like that. I'm not gonna self-diagnose.
Right, I understand that, but you feel depressed.
But bro, like it's like.
Yeah.
Most of the time.
Right.
That jiu-jitsu has fucking helped me immensely with that.
Let me give you a wild-ass statistic, and a lot of people don't like this statistic because it doesn't fit the big pharma narrative, is that daily, vigorous, intense exercise, okay, is something like 75 to 100% more effective than any antidepressant on the market.
And
it's like that. freakishly better.
So the other end of it, too, is that jiu-jitsu, it keeps me, like, bro, I grew up, like, I started smoking cigarettes when I was 14, started smoking weed at the same time, started drinking at the same time. I have a reason to not go home and get shit-faced.
Yeah, because
you know what I mean?
Feel good for jiu-jitsu.
I want to get up in the morning and get up and go train with you guys at 9. You know what I mean? So it's like, that's one of the things that, like, jiu-jitsu has so many good side effects, you know, as opposed to, like, getting on some fucking pill that, and, you know, I'm not saying anything about people that really do need to take a medication to help their chemistry, but, like, I've been able to make relationships that, like, bro, like, where I'm from, it's like you grow up with the same 5 guys, and that's your friends for the rest of your life.
Correct.
You know what I mean? And fucking where I'm from, you're gonna lose.
The best, right?
You're gonna lose 3 of them.
Right.
You know what I mean? By the time you're 25.
If you're lucky.
Yeah, if not all of them.
Yeah.
But it's like it's brought me outside of a circle. It's made me way more tolerant of difference. You know what I mean? Because it's like fucking, but when I first started, it was like literally fucking. Oh, you don't look at things eye to eye with me, fuck you. You know? And it's like now I'm a completely different mentality where it's like I want to hear what your difference is. Like I need to hear it because it's like then we're going to be better friends.
Well, the cool thing about jiu-jitsu is that it definitely drives you to meet more people and stuff.
Yeah.
And I think jiu-jitsu is a depression killer for me. Not for me personally. Depression is not something that I struggle with. I've struggled with ADHD my whole life, but I've always been on the upside of it. I'm a pretty happy-go-lucky guy for the most part.
Yeah.
But jiu-jitsu gives you everything you need to combat depression. Right? It gives you intense physical activity. It gives you a challenge. It makes you meet new people, and they're usually really good people. And it gives you a great, beautiful support system.
Yeah. It will make you inevitably, and I'm speaking from experience, way harder on yourself.
Oh, yeah.
But I'm already there.
But I don't think that... I think a lot of people in this world of coddling and stuff is that they're not... I think a lot of people... I think the generation before us, say your parents, kind of more towards my grandparents. My parents are sort of on the young side, right? Like my mom grew up in like the 80s and 90s more than the 70s and 80s, right?
Yeah, my parents too. My mom's like... I won't say her age. My dad was 53, 54.
My mom's 50. So sort of grew up in the 80s and 90s and stuff. But the generation prior to that we were sort of grown up on is super hard on themselves.
Yeah.
But this generation, in my opinion, and this is only my opinion, is not nearly as hard on themselves as they should be all the time.
Yeah.
Right? So a lot of times it's like, I remember when I was really obese and I was like 300 pounds. And you know what made me lose the weight? This is horrific. My best friend, Jack, every time we talked on the phone, he shamed me horrifically. Every time I talked to him. I would call him on the phone, and he would pick up the phone. What's up, you fat piece of shit?
Yeah.
Seriously. You know what I mean? And I know that doesn't work for everybody. I know for some people that would make them unbelievably sad and depressed. Or whatever.
You knew he was saying it out of love.
Yeah. Right, so for me, I understood that what that was him saying, hey, motherfucker, take care of yourself.
Yeah.
Right? And then I had to look in the mirror and say, wow, I look like shit. I fucking hate myself. I can't walk up a flight of stairs without feeling like, yeah, I can't walk up a flight of stairs without wanting to throw up because I'm so tired, right? And I'm supposed to be going into a profession where I take care of people and try to make them get better. Fucking.
Which is wild, because at this point I can't even fucking picture that.
Yeah, you know what I mean?
You're so fucking, like, active.
Regimented and active and all that, right?
I can't even picture it.
Right, so it's super important that you find something, in my opinion, that works for you.
Yeah.
Because everybody's going to deal with some level of mental health in their life.
For sure.
You know what I mean?
Because everybody loses people, everybody gets sick, everybody, even if it's a fucking puppy. Like, you're going to lose a dog, you're going to lose your dad, you're going to lose your mom. Yeah. There's something that's going to happen.
You have to have things in place, and for me it's jiu-jitsu, and other things too, but mostly jiu-jitsu, that gives me that great support, that gives me that consistency, that gives me that exercise, that gives me that outlet to feel a lot better. You know, for some people it's religion, right?
Yeah.
I'm indifferent about the religion thing. If it's your thing, great. But it gives a lot of people that fellowship with other people, interacting with other people, having a higher thing that works for you, as opposed to, for me, jiu-jitsu is like, I want to get better at jiu-jitsu, right? So for religious people, maybe it's they want to be a better person for their religion or whatever.
Right.
But it's important that you have a thing in order to fail-safe you when your life's really challenging. Right?
Something to go to.
All of the people that I see to deal with their mental illness, right, what happens is they didn't have a backstop.
Yeah.
And they just kept getting worse and worse and worse and worse and worse because they didn't have a backstop and they didn't have good people in their life necessarily to say, hey, dude, you haven't got out of fucking bed in 3 days.
Right.
What's up? Like, you know what I mean? Like, a lot of people from jiu-jitsu, if I don't show up at jiu-jitsu for a week,
where the fuck are you?
10 phone calls.
Yeah.
People will be like, like, I'll be on vacation, and people are like, where you been? What the fuck? I haven't seen you. You all right? You know what I mean? And it's not one guy. It's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 guys. They're like, hey, we haven't seen you. Hope everything's okay. You know what I mean? I really hope to see you at the gym soon.
Which that was a fucking huge thing for me, like a giant change, because I have friends that I've known since I was 9. Right. And they don't check on me ever.
They don't check on you. You know what I mean?
I move and it's like I died. It's like I disappeared.
That's how you know you have good friends. Now, Joseph from Jiu-Jitsu is a guy that is like that for me. He moved to Florida recently. I talk to him more than I talk to my friends that are around here.
Right.
You know what I mean? Every day almost. Either he texts me or I text him. Hey man, what's up? You good?
Yeah.
How's it going? You need anything?
So that's like the part of the reason it's still fucking, I'm hesitant to say I'm going to Texas, but I'm 99.9% sure I'm going, is because of a guy that I met through jiu-jitsu. And we have fucking such different lives.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I have fucking a GED, I'm from the hood.
And he's
like,
really smart. And,
he's in medical school right now. You know, and he's like I mean, to me, he would probably laugh at me when I said this, but he's like a super athlete to me. You know what I mean? Like,
who are you talking about? Is it somebody at jiu-jitsu?
My buddy Zane. No, he's from, I think, Connecticut. But I was training with him in Attleboro in Massachusetts like a couple years ago.
Yeah.
And him and my buddy Mike, like both of them, Mike's same gym, purple belt. Yeah. But he, like, we all trained at the same time, like during COVID and all that shit. Yeah. We were like the last of the people that were willing to go to the gym, you know. And like both of those guys, like I met Mike because Mike was like, I'm fucking weird and you might not like me.
Yeah.
And I was like, I already like you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He's like, I'm gonna talk a lot of shit. And if you're not ready for that,
fuck off.
Don't go to my classes.
Right.
And I was like, I'm definitely going to his classes from now on. Right. And he gave.
So why Texas? What draws you to Texas?
So it's my buddy that's there.
You have a friend there.
Yeah. Yeah. It's the dude in medical school. Okay. He's so it was first like he was like, dude, you gotta come visit me. You're gonna love Austin.
Yeah.
And I was like,
have you been?
No.
No, okay. You should probably visit before you
I haven't been out of New England except for Arizona.
You should try it out before you move there. Don't you think?
Well, that's the funny thing. He's like, if you're gonna come here, he's like, he knows my situation. He knows me very well.
Yeah.
Like I talk to him for hours sometimes, you know. And I've known him for a few years now. He essentially was like, dude, you should come visit in August. And I was like, I can probably do that. Like,
Yeah.
you know. And he's like, so, here's the thing. Like, this is after, like, 2 hours of conversation after that. He's like, here's the thing. I know you, I know your interests and your hobbies, and he's like, between guitar playing and jiu-jitsu, you're probably not going to want to leave Austin.
Yeah, you might not.
And he's like, so what I would say, he's like, I'm not going to tell you what to do, but I would suggest bring most of your shit that you care about if you're going to visit. And I was like, what? Like, fuck. No, dude, like, what do you mean? And he's like, no, like, I'm telling you, like, if you come out here, maybe bring most of your stuff.
I mean, I'm sure a flight's not really that expensive to just go check it out. I mean, what's a flight? $200?
Yeah.
You can put that together in a little while.
Yeah.
Grind it out. Do some extra work.
Yeah, I mean, I know I can,
You
but
know? Yeah.
the way things have been going for the past year, I'm like, I don't know, like, fucking, would it be better for me to just, like, find work out there that's
I was
consistent?
going to say, you got a job? Because that's the ticket.
That's
right there.
the only thing I'm waiting for.
Yeah. What kind of work are you looking for?
Something at least that I'm kind of interested in. That's why it's taken so long.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm like, I'm not going to go out there and do
whatever,
some
yeah.
mediocre
Shovel shit,
fucking job because I'm moving completely across the country.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not going to uproot my life and go somewhere new for maybe this will work out.
Right.
You know, I want it to be like, fuck yeah, like I can't wait to get there and
Yeah.
blah, blah, blah. So I tried like guitar shops and I tried music shops and stuff like that just because it would keep my interest.
Yeah, yeah.
Even if I'm making $16 an hour,
Right, yeah.
fuck it. At least I'm going to work and I'm
right, and enjoying your work.
enjoying it. Right. But all I'm getting is like, fucking, you want to do construction? You want a roof? You want to do this? You want to do that? And it's like, not in Texas. No.
Yeah, no, I hear you.
You know, I don't want to fucking work outside.
Not in Texas.
It's too hot.
Yeah. Well, that's the tricky part, is that you got to find decent work. Because otherwise you'll end up back here in a minute.
Right.
It's just the way it works.
And that's what I'm afraid of. It's
You
like,
know,
am I going to put all this work into moving out there for what? For it to come back?
Yeah.
And be in the same spot? You know?
I think it wouldn't be, I don't know. I'm a very planned out guy.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? I can be very impulsive, but when it comes to big decisions, I'm very, kind of make sure I really try to make the best decision possible, you know? And, I mean, I think the only thing that's going to fuck you up is if you go out there and you don't have a plan.
Right.
You know?
And that's what he's been working on that with me.
Because here at least you have support if you don't have a plan.
Yeah.
Right? Even if it's not financial support, I just mean your brother's here, your mom's here. I don't know what your relationship's like, but it's something. You know what I mean? It's something. Whatever it is, it exists.
Family.
It exists, right?
Yeah.
Whereas there, you just got your one buddy.
Yeah.
Or whatever, you know what I mean? But I can imagine it being very challenging to do so without a real concrete plan.
Yeah.
You know, or a job that's going to pay you enough to pay your rent or whatever.
Yeah. And
You know
Austin
what I mean?
isn't getting any fucking cheaper.
It's getting more expensive. If
Yeah.
anything. Living in the city is very expensive. In
Yeah.
general, any city. But it's super interesting. I think you should do it, though. I mean, as much as I like having you at Henzo's in Salem.
That's the thing that's going to suck the most,
Yeah.
is that, like, I got to now go out of this, but, like, that's more my home than this is, weirdly. Like,
What is?
Henzo's, dude. Like,
Oh,
I
yeah,
fucking
yeah.
love that gym.
For sure.
I've never felt so welcome anywhere in my life.
It'd be super hard to leave, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, think long and hard.
You know,
Not a bad
and aside from that, like, the massive amount of help I've gotten from just
Kevin,
Tim, even Ty, like, bro, you were saying earlier, like, I've had a lot of, like, thoughts about different gyms that I've been to. It's, like, really hard to find people that pay attention.
Yeah.
And you were saying, I think you were saying, like, when it's not a private,
Right.
it's like they don't have the attention
manpower,
right on
right.
you. Dude, every time I train with Ty, he's like, every fucking move he teaches, he's on me. And he's like, bro, you're doing that wrong. Let's do this. Let's do that. You maybe do this way. Like, he's literally shifting my fucking game in the right direction every time I train with him. And it's like, I couldn't thank these people enough, bro.
Right.
You know? And then I train with guys like you, and it's like, now I get to put my shit to the test.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's like if I can pass
Yeah.
your guard,
Yeah.
if I can pass So like if I can withstand
the pressure on top. Yeah.
This is what I'm saying. It's like if I'm surviving things that I never thought I was going to be able to survive.
Yeah, for sure.
And even just like the fact that I passed one dude's guard today.
Oh, man,
it's like holy
amazing.
shit. Like it's huge to me. Right. And it's wise because I listened to these little details and somebody was paying attention.
Yeah, for sure.
And that's huge. And that, I don't care if Austin is the fucking jiu-jitsu capital. Whatever, for now.
Yeah. The thing is, though, about that is that no matter where you are, you have to find a tribe that's going to be supportive of you and a group of people that's going to be supportive of you.
So the first thing Kara said to me when I told, like, she goes, because I was talking to Tim about it, and the door to the office was open. And, like, this is right after I stopped working in Manchester with them, helping them with the gym.
Oh, you were getting them set up and everything?
Yeah, helping. Set up is loose.
I understand.
But I was helping as much as I could over there.
Cleaning, paint, or whatever.
Mostly cleaning.
Yeah.
But I was talking to Tim about it, and, I go in to get my check from Karis, and she goes, "You moving to Texas?" And I was like, "Yeah." She's like, "Dude, we're losing you already? Like, you fucking just got here. You know what I mean?" And I was like, "Yeah, well, there's a lot of good gyms out there, and da-da-da-da." And she, like, hit me with a hammer. She was like, "Yeah, but it's not I said, there's a Henzo's gym right down the road from where I'm going to be staying." And she goes, "Yeah, but it's not a Kevin Landry Henzo's." And I was like,
well,
damn, that's a good point.
It is, but that's to be argued across the points. You know what
Sure.
I mean? Kevin's great, and I'm not one thing. Kevin has taken on a lot of us from other gyms and stuff like that with open arms, and I would never, ever, ever say a bad thing about Kevin. But, I mean, he's not the end-all, be-all of jiu-jitsu. Is he great at jiu-jitsu? Yeah. Is he a great guy? Yeah. But there's good jiu-jitsu out there. You know what I mean?
I don't think it was a dig on any of the jiu-jitsu. It was the family aspect of this gym. Because she's like, you're not gonna necessarily find your fucking, like, your home.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, well, that's one thing you'll find at Henzo's is that there's a lot of good people, and the environment at the gym and the culture at the gym is really amazing.
Yeah.
And that's what I found.
It's conducive to growth.
It's conducive to growth, but it's also conducive to good relationships.
Friendships.
And things like that, yeah. And it's really good. But that being said, it's about that time, and I'm going to have to cut this off.
Sorry,
because we've been here for about 3 almost.
3, oh.
So
editing's going to be a fucking joy.
This is going to be great.
Thank you very much, Niko. I appreciate it, man.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's been a blast.
Dude, where'd your brother go?
Probably downstairs to his
dope
cave.
art.
Yeah, we'll do that. We'll
I want to see his sick art. It's gonna be some editing, dude. You're gonna have some time for this one.
It is what it is. Last time it took 3 days. We'll see how we might have this one out by Thursday.
This will be good though. This has been good.
Hell yeah.
We had a good conversation here.
Well, that's it. Thank you very much, brother.
For sure.